Philadelphia, a Beasley Media Group station, live from the Comcast Business Studios. 97.5, The Fanatic. John Kincade, Andrew Salciunas. This is Kincade and Salciunas. 97.5, The Fanatic, and 97.5thefanatic.com.
You know, as the legal ID was playing, I just kind of let out a sigh, and John to be the good partner that he is, saying, you got this, you got this. No, John, I don't got this, because the Sixers don't got it. They have a 5-point lead with under 30 seconds left, and they lose. I don't got it, John. I'm going to lose my mind.
That sounds very sane of you.
It's Kincade and Salciunas, 97.5 The Fanatic.
This is Kincade and Salciunas.
I have to worry about a draft pick from 3 years from now when this team is currently in a mode where they could be competitors.
Hassan Reddick, the return is fairly even. I would have preferred to have this year.
Kincade and Salciunas. John Kincade, Andrew Salciunas.
97.5 The Fanatic and 97.5thefanatic.com.
Good morning, I guess. Can I please, for the love of God, just have an easy time watching the Sixers in the playoffs? I'm not even asking to win the freaking championship, John. I just want to go into a playoff where my big man's healthy, where you have the right pieces around them, where officials work out for the Sixers' favor.
Where your team plays smart.
Where your team plays smart, where your team plays hard. Can I please... Just like, you know what, can the Sixers do what the Knicks do? With the Sixers' talent, the Sixers are the more talented team. Can the more talented team just play with the effort that the Knicks play with, or play with the intelligence that the Knicks played with yesterday?
No. No. And look, as we get started, no, they can't. Now, look, the best part about this is they do have a chance to redeem themselves when they come home.
Of course they do.
But to play the team that plays with higher intelligence, the team that plays better fundamentals, the team that plays harder for 4 quarters, the team that isn't a spectator when the game is on the line, that's the Knicks.
This is such a
flat out, that's the Knicks.
This is such a random play, and it's not.
It's wild.
It's not any of the big storylines. But to your point about intelligence and fundamentals, there was a moment in the third quarter, and this is when the Knicks were making their run, and they eventually took the lead, where they tried running a dribble handoff. Embiid was on the bench, and you know how when he's on the bench, things just go haywire.
Yeah,
Every single
problem.
It's unbelievable. It's unbelievable. The plus minus of Embiid with the court, off the court, that just tells you how dominant a player he is. It's just unfortunate that he's always freaking hurt. But there was a play, I think it might have been Maxey or Lowry had the ball, and they did a dribble handoff with Oubre. And Oubre just kind of went through the motions as if it was practice, and DiVincenzo swipes it and brings it back the other end and scores. It was such a random play that it was not the reason why the Sixers lost that game. But to your point of effort and intelligence, it was one of those moments where I'm going, do you not freaking realize that this is the playoffs? It's a playoff game. And oh, by the way, if you lose this one, you're now down 2-0, which is what happened.
They had such a mental sag every time Embiid was off the court. There was incredible mental sag. You can see it in the body language. You can see it they're scared. They're scared. Or they play scared. Would be a better way to put it. They look lost. But more importantly, though, there are so many things that I call it one of those ones where it's you got the good and the bad. Joel Embiid and Tyrese Maxey on paper. You look at the numbers and you say, look at that scoring.
Right.
You get 69 points out of the two of them. That's whatever it was. That was incredible.
69 points, also 16 assists between the two of them, and 19 rebounds between the two of them.
Yeah, but then you look inside the numbers.
Right.
Joel Embiid had 2 rebounds after the first quarter.
Yeah.
The biggest guy on the court has 2 rebounds after the first quarter. Give me a break. That just can't happen. That can't happen. And more importantly, everyone is going to want to blame the officials. Well, not everyone.
No.
The officials were not good in the last sequence. It didn't look good. But Tyrese Maxey chose to be a complete spectator. He laid on the court while the winning shot was being taken. He laid on the court and just watched. As the Sixers tried to defend the Knicks 5-on-4, the Knicks with 5, Sixers with 4. Sixers with 4 guys huddled to where each one of them at one point could touch each other.
And, you have the, guy
and the
wide
entire
open, top
court
of the key.
wide open, and Tyrese Maxey laying on the floor watching, like, why didn't I get a call? I can't believe this. And he literally watches. That is not what a great player does in a great moment of a great closeout game. Tyrese has got to learn. He's got to learn. You don't sit there and watch the play unfold.
No.
Thankfully, at some point, Nico Batum makes the run.
He at least tried,
At least tried. But it was too late. It was too late. And if Tyrese Maxey had gotten up off the ground and actually decided, you know what? The play's still going on. He moved less on the floor of Madison Square Garden than I did on my couch watching the sequence. It's unacceptable. It is unacceptable. It's unintelligent basketball.
Yeah.
When the game mattered the most.
And that's the thing. Like, again, you point out the numbers. If I did the blueprint,
yes.
Once again, the Sixers should win this game.
They should.
Maxey has his points. Embiid has his points. Jalen Brunson has another horrible day shooting. 8 of 29 from the field, 1 of 6 from 3. The blueprint, once again, that we all want. It's not just what Nick Nurse probably designed.
No.
We all talked about it. We did the Talk Stars last week, right, where the 6 of us, with you and me and Bob and Ricky Patalico and Tyrone Johnson, and we're talking about what should the Sixers do. We all had the same idea. Just limit Jalen Brunson. But then the problem is it's the second game in a row where Josh Hart is wide open. And he's unconscious.
Open.
Now, there's the one three that he hits in transition where he pulls up
Which
like
was amazing.
he's playing an arcade game and he's hitting the three. Like, Josh Hart was incredible yesterday. But Dante DiVincenzo, the open looks that he had. Josh Hart, the open looks that he had. That's 8 threes between the two of them.
How about Hart down the stretch, wide open in the lane? They fed him twice or 3 times for little bunny baskets. Well, undefended.
Yeah.
Unfreaking defended. The Knicks play smarter. The Knicks play harder. Flat out. Through 2 games. The series is not over. It is not over.
But we're reacting today to last night. So, we don't have to do the whole.
No.
I don't want to couch it by saying the series is not over. No, I'm pissed off today.
You should be pissed.
You should be coming back to Philadelphia, arguably up 2-0, but at least 1-1. But no, you're down 0-2, and now you have the pivotal Game 3. If you're not winning Game 3, I'm sorry.
No, this
is not going to be the magical Boston Red Sox of 2004 or the Flyers against the Bruins where you're down 3-0 and you make the comeback and you win in 7. That's not going to happen. The Knicks play too hard to allow that to happen. The Sixers are the more talented team. They were once again the more talented team last night. But it came down to the final couple minutes again. Look, I know we don't want to blame the officiating. That was a problem, but it can't be just officiating. We can't sit here and just blame the officials. The fact that the Sixers got outscored the way they did in the second half, that had nothing to do with the officials.
If you think the Sixers lost the game because of the officials, all I'm going to say to you is you got violin practice at 3:30 today. Go to violin practice and try to make excuses because you do not want to acknowledge what you watched through 4 quarters. You want to blame it on a sequence and say, well, that's the reason they lost. Bull crap.
Hello, Connor.
That's not why they lost.
Are you gonna blame the refs today?
I'm gonna be a little late for violin practice. I have a prior engagement. No, I'm not gonna blame the refs for the entirety of the game. But we cannot say that did not have a major, major effect on the outcome. That is equally as important as the Sixers not playing well enough. It's not the reason, but it's an equal part.
The missed call on Tyrese Maxey was a tragedy.
That was ridiculous.
You have a referee on the baseline. Not seeing his jersey being tugged, the way that Embiid's jersey was tugged in Game 1 by Hartenstein, I don't know how they missed that. But
and I think he was purposely trying to foul.
But, right, I believe so as well.
I believe he was trying to stop the clock.
To what John is saying, what I'm going to say, because I can't sit here and blame the officiating today. It shouldn't have gotten to that point.
What are you doing? But why is it there?
You're right, but we can still blame the officiating.
No.
We don't have to let anybody off the hook. We got 4 hours, gentlemen. We could say the refs sucked, and we could say the Sixers' effort wasn't good enough.
It's such a loser mentality.
I don't think it is.
To start blaming officials when you are the more talented team.
Right.
You are the team that you should be winning the series.
But, John, I'm not letting the Sixers off the hook. I'm not disagreeing with anything you're saying. But we need to hold everybody who's in part of this game responsible, or the league gets off. And I'm not letting the league get off because professional sports are not well enough run when it comes to officiating across the board. And I'm tired of this because we deserve better as a product. The Sixers deserve to give us better as fans, but the league deserves to give us better as a product.
You know what we deserve? we deserve an all-star, not to lay on the floor and watch the final sequence of the game unfold with Tyrese laying there on the floor watching as a spectator. That's what we deserve, Connor.
Yeah.
What we deserve is more. What we deserve is more than 2 rebounds out of the biggest guy in the court, the MVP, after the first quarter is over. There are things we deserve. Those things are far more in your control than worrying about something that's out of your control. And lousy officiating is. I will tell you at the end, to me, the egregious non-call is when they're inbound, it is clear.
Oh, it's horrible, yeah.
It is clear. He's trying to stop the clock. He's trying to foul Tyrese Maxey so no time goes off the clock. That is the egregious thing that was lost.
But it shouldn't have gotten to that point.
It never should have been.
It shouldn't have gotten to that point. Your second half numbers.
How about making some foul shots in the course of the night that don't make that happen?
Well, I mean, it was
you
unfortunate.
allowed it to happen.
Embiid uncharacteristic, missing 4 free throws, right?
He missed 4 in a row,
Uncharacteristic.
didn't he?
Yep, he did. Your second half numbers. So Joel Embiid still dropped 18, but to your point, 0 rebounds, 0 of 5 from 3 because you could tell that the legs bothered him. The only problem, and look, I once more, I understand why Joel Embiid has to pull up for 3 every once in a while.
Too many.
But there were some bad ones. There was one, he did like a turnaround, like a Kobe from 3. I'm like, dude, I understand that you might need to take a possession off, dish it to somebody.
Let somebody else get to the basket.
An ugly 3 is not going to benefit the Sixers. So Embiid, 0 of 5 from 3 in the second half. He did finish with 18 points. Tyrese Maxey with 15 points, but in a pivotal moment at the end, like you said, he's laying on the ground watching the play. He eventually stood up, but it's not like he just kind of stood there. He was a statue. Tobias Harris, I know he's not the biggest issue today, but Tobias Harris
much better.
A 0 in the second half.
Yep.
Once more, I don't joke about it. I'm serious about it when I say I would love to make a bet on Tobias Harris and whether or not you think it's going to be the Tobias Harris game, and I will always bet no. Tobias Harris had an incredible first half. Guy finishes with 10 points. He grabbed 6 rebounds. He had a good first half.
I think his rebounding effort was strong last night for the most part. But
the second half,
oh my gosh.
In 20 minutes and 42 seconds, that's how much he played in the second half. 0 of 3, so barely even took attempts. 0 points. That means he didn't even get to the free throw line. 3 rebounds. So to that rebounding effort that you point out, it was there in the first half. Non-existent in the second half. Non-existent, and that's my biggest problem with him. He's Tobias, the friendly ghost. He disappears in big moments.
He had 1 more rebound than Joel Embiid had in the last 3 quarters.
Right, and that's horrible toward Joel. It's like,
Joel I get you.
But sometimes you need other guys to step up. When Embiid's clearly banged up, you need your teammates to step up, and Tobias Harris has not done it for 6 seasons now.
Now the weird thing is, they were like, he looks great. He looks great, Embiid. They were saying on the broadcast.
Which broadcast were you watching?
I was watching the main one and ours.
I didn't hear the main one say that remotely.
No, they were talking.
They were on the network broadcast. They absolutely said he looked great in the first half.
Couldn't move. And they
I watched the TNT. Yeah, they were literally. Yeah, they were.
Come on. In the first half, they literally said he looked great.
Not the second.
In the first half. They said he looked so much better than Saturday. He's moving so much better than Saturday.
Like the first 10 minutes of the game.
And then all of a sudden, it's.
Yeah. He looked horrible in the second half, and they pointed it out. Lowry was probably your best player again in the second half. He scores 8 points. He had 6 rebounds.
What was he being carried off for at the end?
Diving into the court or into the fans.
What was he being carried off for at the end?
He got smoked on the rebound by Hartenstein.
Because I didn't. Yeah. I was so busy watching everything else. He got like wind knocked out of him or something.
He went flying. I don't know what hit him, but yeah, he went down on the second rebound.
Lowry's ability. Lowry shows me consistently, though, that he's leaving it all on the court.
I don't
think he's leaving it all on the court.
I don't want to say it, but I'm going to say it. He's the only winner on the team.
He looks it.
He's showing it.
He is that dive into the stands.
Yes.
He ended up five seats of chairs is where his head was.
Yeah.
That is effort. That is fight. And I understand now, and I questioned it at the time, why Daryl Morey thought a guy his age was going to be a difference maker.
Oh, you're seeing
He's a freaking difference maker, and I understand.
Embiid is the best player. Tyrese Maxey has the brightest future. Kyle Lowry on this team is the only guy where I go, all right, that dude's a winner.
Why don't they watch him? Why don't they learn from it?
Well, maybe they will. I don't know. Maybe they will.
Maybe.
After going down a second time, losing again, blowing another lead, and going down 2-0 in the series.
I can't.
We're not talking about games in November and December and January anymore. This is the freaking playoffs, and you've blown 2 leads, and you're now down 2-0. Fortunately, for your sake, you're coming back to Philadelphia, but we'll see. We'll see if home court even freaking matters. If you're getting outplayed that way, out-hustled, out-effort, out-everything, I don't know if I can even say home court advantage is going to be the best medicine for them.
Were you out-strategized last night? I loved the plan last night.
Well, once again,
I loved the plan. I loved the plan. I was saying to myself, notes that I was taking as the game going along. I said for the vast majority of that game, and I wrote it in the early fourth quarter, vast majority of this game, I feel like the Sixers had the superior plan.
They did. It's the same thing they did in game 1, and unfortunately, they lost again.
Talk about winners closing it out.
They didn't do anything different. Like, it was the minute total is very similar from game 1 to game 2. Very similar.
They did an amazing job, though, of adjustments from game 1 to game 2, and to Nick Nurse and his staff, and to the players for executing it. They did an amazing job of turning that narrative around.
Absolutely.
And that was a positive. For the vast majority of that night, what bothered me so much and made it hard to sleep at the beginning of the night was the idea that so many things they corrected. But when it came down to it, winners win.
Yeah.
Winners win.
So I watched I watched Isaiah Hartenstein.
Oh, freaking unbelievable.
In the second half, score 14 points and grab 7 boards.
And he scored three bunny shots, uncontested, right in the freaking lane.
That shows A, Embiid not being able to move, and B, Paul Reed, a horrible defender.
Oh, my God.
Yeah. Paul Reed was abysmal last night. Which is one. And look, I'm not going to harp on the backup center who played a total of 3 minutes and 50 seconds in the second half. But 2 of those bunnies was Paul Reed just not being in the play. But, the Chicago Bulls didn't want to trade Andre Drummond because they thought they still had a shot. It was amazing. All right, so, look, obviously we are going to react to this Sixers game all day long, as we should. We're going to give you all the opportunities to react. Yesterday, John and I talked a lot. Yesterday was a day where we were reacting to game 1 because it was Saturday. It was our first chance to react. But also, it was the preview for game 2. So You and I did a lot of talking. We had Connor doing a lot of talking. We did not give a platform for a lot of you. We apologize for that. We will give you that platform today on the phone lines and the text line at 610-632-0975, because today is a day to get everything off your chest, which we just did in the first 15 minutes of the show.
One other thing.
Well, I would like. Yet, but
can we do a wellness check?
Yeah, sure.
Buddy Hield. Can I do a check? Is Buddy Hield alive?
He is.
Can somebody check and see the greatest impact player that was available at the trade deadline?
Yep.
Daryl Morey says he got.
Well, I told you he was the guy that needed to step up in this series.
Step up,
and
he's anonymous.
He's done nothing.
Freaking anonymous.
It's a shame. He's such a disappointment because I know the player that he can be, but I've never seen him in the playoffs.
No.
He's never been in the playoffs, right? So,
well, I think I'm understanding why he wasn't all no
right. Yeah, his team's never been good,
but he also
here's the problem:
has to take some of that.
Buddy Hield, a guy that's supposed to be an unconscious 3-point shooter. If he misses, it doesn't matter. He'll take another one down the floor the next time. In 14 minutes and 34 seconds, which is how he was on the floor yesterday, he attempted 3 field goals. 3. That can't happen when you're supposed to be the scorer off the bench. Nicholas Batum is not your scorer off the bench. Paul Reed is not your scorer off the bench. Buddy Hield is supposed to be, and attempting 3 field goals is just not enough. I complained about it yesterday after game 1. I'm complaining about it again today after game 2. Buddy Hield just needs to shoot the freaking bench.
No, he needs to go to the bench, and Campaign needs to get his minutes.
Campaign should get some minutes.
I asked for it in game 1, and I didn't get it in game 2. I thought for sure I would see Campaign getting more.
My biggest issue with coaches in the NBA is I don't want to seem desperate, so I'll wait till we're down 3-0. Well, when you're down 3-0,
then you're done.
I don't know what the odds are. I'm sure Kincaid's calculator can dig it up.
Now our odds are 7.3%.
Right. So I don't want to seem desperate. Well, why do you wait until game 4 to do it when you're down 3-0? If something doesn't look good after game 1, okay, I get it. You got to roll out. Like I said, Tobias Harris should start in games 1 and games 2. And Tobias Harris should start in game 3. But what I'm trying to get at is if you start seeing a guy struggle, it's okay to make an adjustment because this is no longer the regular season. This is the freaking playoffs. All right, so we're going to continue reacting to the Sixers game, but also, here's something that we want to do today. Our man B. Gunn was hard at work yesterday, and I appreciate it. In my sheet, in my hand, the sheet that's in front of me, we have 31 different people who did a mock draft. NFL.com writers,
all the biggest spots,
CBS Sports, ESPN, you name it. 31 mock drafts in front of me, just the Eagles pick. We want to do an educational day today. I know we all love football in this city. I know we all love the Eagles in this city. I don't think everybody knows players that are around pick 22. I think everybody knows the top 5 picks in any draft. NFL,
you know the
NBA,
names, you know the
maybe just those two, maybe not NHL and MLB because they're 18 years old, 17 years old, some of them. I have all the players selected in these mock drafts, and you know I'm anti-mock draft, but I just want to do an educational approach, tell you who these players are, where they went to, what position they play, and we'll see what do the majority of these draft people say that the Eagles are going to do. It's going to be an educational day. It's not going to be a day of who do you want in the first round. No, we're just going to educate also ourselves about who these players are. So we'll do that throughout the show. But, of course, your reaction to Sixers Game 2, down 2-0 now, heading back to Philadelphia Thursday night. It's Kincade and Salciunas, 97.5 The Fanatic. Salciunas here on 97.5 The Fanatic on this Tuesday morning. Our man B Gunn working hard as always. He puts out the tweet about how I said Kyle Lowry's the only guy on that team that looks like a winner, and people are crushing it because Lowry missed 2 free throws, which he did. But they're also crushing him for the inbound pass
where there was a foul.
Where there's a foul, and I'm sure if I read the Twitter timeline of the people that are complaining about me calling Lowry a winner, I guarantee you all of them also complain about the officiating.
Oh, I guarantee it. And there was a foul.
So that means Lowry made the right play.
But there's a foul that wasn't called on it.
Yeah.
So then that's
so it's Lowry. So now it's Lowry's fault.
If every single player on the Sixers roster that isn't named Lowry had his heart inserted, this team probably is up 2-0 in this series.
Yeah, it's not even a question.
Or maybe his IQ for the most part. His basketball IQ.
I mean, dude, he's diving.
Basketball IQ says take a timeout yourself there before you inbounds.
Or Tyrese could take a timeout.
But he also made the right play. He put it in only a spot where Tyrese Maxey could get it. Unfortunately, his jersey was like James Bradbury in the Super Bowl, but more egregious, honestly. It was more egregious than James Bradbury in the Super Bowl. And they didn't call it. Unbelievable, man. Whatever. People are freaking out about an inbound
Well, look, there's
pass.
always going to be, and we totally understand.
Yeah, we do.
Afterwards,
it's an emotional day today, man.
And everybody is going to have their little hit list of who they want to get.
Yeah.
I would just tell you, it's going to be deaf ears if you're whining about officiating costing you that game.
Well,
being the reason you lost. I'm sorry.
Look, I can't say that.
It wasn't. It was a factor on that one play. Absolutely.
It wasn't just fans.
Oh, no.
I'm going to tell you later on today. Not yet, Connor, because I didn't tease it going into the break.
Okay.
It's not just fans complaining about the officiating.
Really?
And it's not just anybody on the Sixers.
What? I can't wait to hear this.
We'll talk about it, come up in a little bit. But we'll get to your calls and your texts at 610-632-0975 in a second. But again, today we're going to do also like an educational NFL draft day. So I have 31
That's unbelievable.
Eagles selections via mock drafts today.
Brendan Gunn didn't work that hard at Temple.
There are many players on here. I will tell you right now that Nate Wiggins, the cornerback out of Clemson, is a guy that the majority of these draft analysts have the Eagles selecting, with Cooper DeJean being second.
I don't want Wiggins.
So we'll get to those players as the show continues.
Okay.
But there are 3 players that got 1 selection. Dan Parr of NFL.com gave Laiatu Latu, the edge rusher from UCLA, who I have off my draft board because he wants to be a fireman one day. And I already dealt with this with Danny Watkins. So I don't care. He could be.
And he's older.
Dude, he could be Reggie White.
And he's older.
I don't want him on my draft board.
Okay.
Because of a fireman in the first round already didn't work out for the Eagles. But I know Andrew DeCecco, who will be joining us Thursday for the 8 o'clock hour, the day of round 1 of the NFL draft. He's a big Latu guy.
He is.
So I got to also respect the actual draft nut in Andrew DeCecco.
You have you're just anti-fireman.
I'm anti-fireman in football first round.
Yes, you are pro-fireman.
I'm pro-fireman. I support the firemen, man.
Yes.
They're taking care of the world, okay? I'm just anti-potential first-round draft pick that wants to be a fireman one day. And older.
That is a great bias.
Hey,
at least you're owning it.
I will not. If they draft him, I'll be upset for that reason.
Because of the fireman thing.
Yep.
I don't. He's older too. I don't like that either.
Another player that was selected one time, Chris Trapasso from CBS Sports. He goes with Chop Robinson from Penn State. I don't think he's going to be there.
No.
Like it's not. I don't think this is even possible.
No. There's stuff that has. I've seen some mock drafts that really have not made sense. That would not make sense.
And now you know why
By the way,
I hate mock drafts.
He's a high climber during the off season.
Yeah,
I'd pass.
There's another player that's a high climber, but Andrew DeCecco swears by him, and this is another guy that only has 1 vote there's only one guy that has the Eagles taking him. And Jonathan Jones of CBS Sports has the Eagles trading up to 16 to draft Quinyon Mitchell, the cornerback out of Toledo.
I like him a lot.
So I don't think many people – this is why we're doing this as an educational process. People know who Chop Robinson is because he played for Penn State, right? So people know he's an edge rusher. Not many people know who Laiatu Latu is.
No.
He's an edge rusher from UCLA who I forget where he went first. He then stopped playing because of injury. It was like a Grant Calcaterra situation.
I have no interest.
Calcaterra stopped playing because of concussions, decided to go back to college, got drafted by the Eagles. Now he's in the NFL. Latu actually stopped playing because of injuries, was done. He did not want to play football anymore. That's when he fell in love with being a fireman and then decided, I want to start playing. He got the bug again. He started playing again. Between COVID, injuries, red shirt stuff, he was able to still play. And look, he put together a decent career in UCLA, but again, he's an older player, and that's something I don't want to go with, and he wants to be a fireman. But Quinyon Mitchell is a very interesting target because he went to Toledo. So he didn't go to Bama. He didn't go to Georgia. He didn't go to LSU. Also, he is a guy, and Andrew DeCecco said this a couple times with us. Not only is the tape there, he's also been great on the combine, great at his pro days, great as individual workouts. That's why he is climbing.
Go to YouTube after Andrew had mentioned his name. Go to YouTube. If you go down that rabbit hole, if you take 15 minutes, I think you're going to want something like that to potentially happen.
And you and I are on the same boat, and I think Connor as well. We all want corner. Now, Connor wants Kool-Aid McKinstry, but we all want corner. We all believe the Eagles will not do that.
I don't believe
And they're going to draft an offensive lineman. But Quinyon Mitchell is a guy that's in striking distance for the Eagles. They have to trade up to get him, not just according to this mock draft. A lot of people have him. The reason why he's only been selected one time in these mock drafts is because nobody thinks that he's going to be there. But we all know Howie. Howie's not going to sit at 22. He's going to probably end up trading up. And Quinyon Mitchell is a guy that they could target. So we'll be doing this throughout the show. We'll be giving you the names that you want to keep, just put in your brain so that come night one of the NFL draft, when you see players getting selected and you hear the names that are still available, or you see the names that are still available, and you heard us talking about them on the show, maybe we'll give you a little bit of an educational, we'll give you like a little synopsis of these players as the show goes on, okay?
And there was some happiness last night other than this. We're going to find happiness today. Find happiness dreaming about the draft. Find happiness in our baseball team. Find happiness in the little things that went right, too, in the game that maybe get us a Game 3 victory.
You guys can find it.
I'm not. No. Don't say you guys. You, John, can find happiness. You can find happiness from Game 2.
I will.
I am happy that Embiid and Maxey once again played to the level that we expected them to, at least in terms of point total.
Until the game was on the line.
And then it fell apart.
Neither one of them did.
So I can't be happy about it.
No, I got you.
Because they came up small.
I saw a plan last night from Nick Nurse that makes me happy.
I saw the same plan in Game 1. They're down 2-0.
Their plan was much better last night.
All right, well, we'll continue talking about it. Let's get, again, I promise I want more of your reaction today because yesterday, John and I we talked nonstop yesterday. We want some of your reaction. We'll get to a couple of texts, but first, let's go to Mike and Delran. I actually talked to Mike before the show started.
What?
He called in early. He wanted to be on
early to get it.
Hello, Michael.
I've been on hold since the game ended. So pissed off.
And I'm going to say this. I think your call will go different from the call you and I had before the show started because there was expletives.
Because I've been called in for a long time and I've never dropped the F-bomb. So
good.
I won't do that now. But yeah, I don't know. You can try to find the happiness all you want. I'm just going to sit here and lounge in the misery all day because that's what we do.
I'm not finding happiness. I'm glad. Yeah. I'm happy for John.
Are you of the belief, Mike, though, that the series is over then?
Well, of course not. I can't
well then
played at home yet. But
there's things that you can look at last night and say, okay, that was a hell of a lot better. Yeah, that was a hell of a lot better.
Maybe one or two things, but I could find 10 that were a hell of a lot worse. I mean, listen, I'm not the kind of guy that bashes Tobias Harris. I hardly ever do that.
Don't worry, I'll do that for you.
And I know you do that for me, but listen, he was on the court for 41 minutes. He didn't give max contract effort. He gave vet minimum effort, and I'm sorry, I don't want him on the court.
How do you get? But wait a minute though. How does Embiid get 2 rebounds after the first quarter?
I get it.
How in the world is that?
Because he doesn't have a knee. It's gone.
I can't blame Embiid or Maxey.
Maxey watched the entire final sequence laying on the court.
And he played his ass off for 43 minutes.
Okay, but when the game mattered, Mike, he was a spectator.
But John,
he was going to defend somebody, Mike. Come on.
No,
you don't lay there on the court and watch. Come on, Mike.
Last thing, real quick. I hear what you're saying about Nick Nurse's plan, but the last few minutes of that game, I thought that was where Nick Nurse was going to make the difference, and I was surprised that last night we lost that game.
Yeah, Mike, thanks for the call, brother.
Good job, Mike.
John, you talked about this yesterday. Game 1 and the game against Miami, Doc Rivers would have been crushed for how it ended. Or
yes,
how,
he would have.
Or how Game 1 or how the Heat game started.
He absolutely would have gotten crushed for it.
I don't know what Nick Nurse did in the final minutes of that game yesterday.
I don't
that should
either.
make you say
no. I
did
don't.
A good job.
Nick
coaching.
Nurse isn't getting crushed by me. I'm blaming my two. But look, there are a lot of things that went on during the game I'm crushing, but in the final sequence of a game, they've got Joe Bag of Donuts making big plays. They've got lunch pail guys making big plays, and our two best players. We're not.
Well,
so we're not.
Your two best players' stat lines were unbelievable.
I understand stats. You can read me your stats.
But John, you had two guys questionable going into the game. Tyrese Maxey was on an IV with an illness. He goes out and gets you 35, 9, and 10.
And had 15 and 15.
What does that have to do with my point of your two best players at the end of the game?
John, you're not wrong with how he handled the final moment, but I'm not going to sit here today and say it's only Tyrese Maxey's
I didn't say it's only.
Or he's one of the bigger reasons. Dude, so look, you don't want to blame Tobias Harris because of what happened in the final seconds of that game. I don't blame you. I can't help but look at 20 minutes and 42 seconds out of a guy that you need to step up. Need to. Because Embiid, I know you point out he only had 2 rebounds after the first quarter. He at least gave you 18 points in the second half. Maxey
gave me 5 in the third.
Maxey gave you 15 points in the second half, including 6 rebounds and 5 assists. Tyrese Maxey, in 20 and 42 seconds, the same amount of time that Embiid and Maxey played, gave you 0 points, 3 rebounds, excuse me.
Last 2 minutes of a road playoff game. In NBA history, what do we talk about?
Okay.
We talk about star players.
All right, fine.
Wait. Let me get the thought out before you guys
jump. I know what you're going to say. Kobe Bryant wouldn't do it. Shaq
if you're talking about star players, go back 30 years, 40 years, whatever it is. We talk about star players being the ones who are held accountable, who rise to the occasion, who close out games.
We don't talk about
that you allow Scribinis to beat you. You allow role players to beat you.
Maxey hit a dagger 40-foot three before that. How is that not closing out the game? How is that not your superstar being in the right moment? The rest of the team put their head up the ass for 27 seconds.
Why are you laying on the ground?
Because
for that entire
exhausted.
And John, he also went down because he had to go for the loose ball.
He did, but he could have gotten. He had plenty of time to get up.
He could have gotten up, and he didn't. But that is not just the only moment that led to the Knicks coming back. We talk about how the officiating, right? The lack of the call is not the only reason why they lost in the second half. Maxey being on the floor is not the only reason why they lost in the second half. There's multiple people that are to blame for the second half.
I hold star players to a higher standard when the games are on the line, playoff games are on the line, than you guys do.
And those two star players combined for 33 points in the second half.
Harris gave you numbers you want.
You give me numbers all the time.
No, you give me all the numbers you want about how great it was. It wasn't great when great players close out games.
I don't know what you watched if you don't think Maxey didn't close that out.
Goose egg by Tobias Harris.
I'll show you him laying on the ground.
In 20 minutes and 42 seconds, goose egg.
Yep.
Goose egg. All right, we continue. All right. It's not just the fans complaining about the referee.
Oh, yes.
How about arguably the GOAT? Complain about the referee.
Tom Brady chimed in on this nonsense?
Tiger Woods. No. Somebody in the NBA rips the NBA
Michael
and
Jordan.
the replay center. It's Kincade and Salciunas, 97.5 The Fanatic.
Tyrone Johnson.
in New York. Another fourth quarter blown lead in which the Knicks come back and win. And now you're down 2-0, and you must win Game 3 on Thursday night. You know, I give you credit, John, for looking for the positives. I understand that there are positives from said game, but I can't do that today.
I agree. I mean,
I'll do it Thursday morning.
I agree that most people are going to feel like you do. But how about this? I feel much better about that one than Saturday. And I know that's going to seem crazy. I feel much better about that one than Saturday. I saw my team have a much better plan, execute the and really to me, just I feel better about the Sixers' effort, and I feel better
because they didn't allow 23 offensive rebounds.
The effort was there last night, and I truly believe this series is not over.
Well, it's not over.
No, but I mean,
because
you know what I mean. It feels over.
Right.
It feels over to a lot of people.
So that's my issue, right? So you're right. There were a lot of things to take away in a positive way from Game 2, and more so than Game 1. You're right in saying that. But where I can't meet you is they're now down 2-0. Like, it's great that you're taking away more positives from Game 2 than you did Game 1.
Correct.
But bottom line is the result is the result. You're now down 2-0. And if you lose Thursday night, you might as well just say, all right, see you guys.
Oh, no.
Pack up and go home.
There's no reason.
We saw this team not show up to a Game 7. You think they're going to show up to a Game 4 down 3-0?
There's no reason to have faith if they don't win Game 3. But it just – I think you had the superior plan last night. You had this – and I was not displeased with the effort. So I'm going to look for some things that say to me Thursday can be different.
I'm going to need your help because I feel like it's pretty done. I'm just going to be honest.
You do feel that way?
I do feel like it's pretty done, so I'm going to need to hear what you have to say about the positives because I'm in a dark place right now with this team. That was just another heartbreaking loss. It's another weird bounce on a three-pointer late in the game.
Right.
I can't do this anymore, and I need some evidence as to why.
I guarantee you this, though. By Thursday night at PJ's in Wynwood,
yep.
As we're leading up to game time, you will not feel like you feel today.
Well, yeah, I will.
But there's
going to be beers, dude.
There's going to be
well, that's a little bit different
but
too.
There's going to be more of a nervous energy. I had a nervous energy going into Game 2 because I realized if you lose this game, you're down 2-0. I'm now going to have more of a nervous energy going into Game 3, even though I will say that they're going to win. There's going to be that nervous energy that if they lose, you're now down 3-0. And so I don't blame Connor for feeling that way at all. Yesterday, Game 1 was the kick in the nuts, right?
Right.
Game 2 was you're on the ground looking for somebody to pick you up, and all your friends are gone.
It's not good.
And you're like,
it's not a good feeling this
I guess I'm still down here. All right, let's get a couple of texts, Connor, and then we got to play this clip because it's not just fans crushing the referees. What's been coming in on the text line? Same number as the call-in line, 610-632-0975.
Yeah, so we have a couple people who are with John in the camp that he's in, and we have a couple people who are going to be joining me at violin practice when it comes to the officials. But the first one, this is unnamed. Tim from Mount Holly, actually. I see it here.
Hi, Tim.
Why do I feel like they addressed all the issues but just still can't win? They just aren't winners. Shake my head. I thought Maxey was better than that. So kind of that defeated feeling of like this team does things right and can't find a way to victory.
I don't want to harp on Maxey for that final play. Was it egregious? Yes, John. It was. Clear. I just don't want to take away his entire game.
I'm not trying to do that.
But what was his name? Tim
yeah.
the texter. Tim on the text line.
Hi, Timmy.
That's true.
I thought more of Tyrese Maxey. I can't do the whole, maybe he's not a winner.
Well, the thing is, nobody's articulated that. At least I haven't.
You haven't, but
I don't think that
he just said he thought more of Maxey until that moment last night.
Well, I thought I would never have expected Maxey to be a spectator on that last play. I would not.
But
if he's laying there because he's exhausted. I watched it 2 more times during the break. No. He was full of energy 30 seconds before it. He's laying there. He's upset because he didn't get a call.
He's definitely upset that he
That's
didn't
why
get a
he's
call.
laying on the ground. He's not laying on the ground because he's exhausted. He literally is watching the game slip away from the ground. Now, that doesn't take away from the fact that he was freaking amazing, and he did hit one from the subway
What you
station.
thought was a dagger, yeah.
He hit it from the subway. All these things are true, but in a vacuum, you have to look at closing out a game. Why can the Knicks close out games with role players? And the Sixers can't close out games with their stars.
Right. Well, our next text from AB might have something to say about it because they say, yes, it's the Sixers' fault. Yes, they're more talented. However, Whistle is definitely heavily favoring the Knicks. It does have something to do with the closeout.
All right, so LeBron James.
What?
LeBron James.
Well, he played last night.
He played last night, and he was not happy with the officiating. But he also kept a close eye on what happened in New York last night. 1,778 miles away, by the way. Madison Square Garden to where the Nuggets home arena is.
What was he commenting on the Sixers game for?
Take a listen.
I don't understand what's going on in the replay center, to be honest. I think I said it this year or last year, whatever. D'Lo clearly gets hit in the face on a drive. It doesn't make sense to me. It makes no sense to me. It bothers me. I'm sorry I didn't answer your question, but that's like, and then I just saw what happened with the Sixers-Knicks game, too. What are we doing?
LeBron James unhappy with the call.
That's going to get a fine. That's going to get a big fine.
Well, there's a lot of fines. Embiid complained. Nick Nurse complained. There's going to be a lot of fines thrown out there. Or maybe Adam Silver should go, you know what? It was a bad call. I'll waive it.
We're going to find out Thursday night everything we need to know about this team for this year and moving forward. And
it will be telling. It will be telling because if you go down because of lack of effort or whatever, you're down 3-0. The series is pretty much over. All right, we'll give you another draft prospect coming your way next to start the 7 o'clock hour. More from the Sixers. The timeout that was or was not called. You'll hear from Nick Nurse and also Joel Embiid about it. It is Kincade and Salciunas right here on 97.5 The Fanatic. on this Tuesday morning. It's only Tuesday, John. Yesterday was a reaction to a Game 1 loss and preview to Game 2, which eventually was a loss. And now today is reaction to Game 2 loss. It's only Tuesday, damn it.
It's only Tuesday.
Now, thank God we have a lot to get into this week because we have the NFL draft on Thursday. Game 3 will be on Thursday, but is that actually a good thing that Game 3 is on Thursday? I think it is. Can the Sixers and Knicks agree to like a 1-week layoff? Just regroup next week. I don't know if my heart can take it.
I'm going to tell you right now. I already told Connor. I'll be flat out chesty before Game 3. I'm right now talking about alternate spreads where it will be a little bit lopsided.
Oh God, that's good.
Yep.
I'm happy for you. I don't know if
you're not there, but it's all right.
No. I'm not.
You may be there by then, and we're going to potentially send somebody there. Andrew will have details.
We'll talk about. Look, I once more will say that the Sixers will win on Thursday, but I can't go that far.
Oh,
lopsided victory.
Wait till you see how far I can go.
Oh, jeez. Okay. Well, look,
I can go far.
I'm happy that you can do that. All right, so we're gonna get more of your calls and more of your texts. It's a big reaction day to last night's horrible loss, and it's just unfortunate because there's so many different things that you can point to. You know, John, fans are going to point to officiating. It's going to happen. And look, that missed call is a part of the reason why they lost the game. I'm not going to complain about officiating in the first quarter, second quarter, third quarter, right? That play at the end where Jalen Brunson pulls the jersey, it was more egregious than the James Bradbury call in the Super Bowl.
Oh, I think three times.
Egregious.
3 times is egregious.
And there is a referee, the baseline referee is right there watching the play and does not see it, lets the play or does see it but lets the play continue, which then leads to the scramble, which then leads to the was there a timeout, was there not a timeout, which then leads to the Tyrese Maxey, did he give max effort at the end, which leads to the game-winning shot by Dante DiVincenzo. It all started with that lack of a call on the inbound play.
You made a great point there, and I think that it's what has to be said. All things can be true. Maxey had a freaking amazing game. He had a really, really bad moment with the game on the line. Embiid played like a freaking machine and then maybe ran out of gas. I don't know what it could have been, but let's
say that's what it was.
It could have been. I don't know, but
he played what, 6 games coming off of his surgery?
Right.
And look, he played great in those 6 games. And statistically, he has played well in the first 2 games of this series. You just see the drastic difference first half, second half. When it comes to other areas of the game, he still dropped 15 in the second half or 18 in the second half. He still put up the points. It's just everything else that he wasn't able to accomplish, to your point, the rebounding. But then that's when you need other guys to step up. So all things are true. Tobias Harris needs to step up. I was thinking about this in the morning because I know you, John. I know we've only worked together, this is our 6th week?
Yes.
Doing the show. I know you. And I knew that you were not going to want to crush Tobias Harris too much. I am at all times.
That's fine.
I'm never going to let that guy off the hook.
And I know that about you in 6 weeks. I can tell.
If you came in today with laryngitis and could barely speak, right? Which is what we need to do in this job. If your meniscus is if your meniscus is bothering you, I still expect you to come to work, right?
Right.
But if you have laryngitis, our voices are pretty important when it comes to this job.
They are.
Our show is better when you are in, right? Even though Joel Embiid is 70%, 80%, the team is better when he's on the court. You could tell by the plus minus, right?
Absolutely.
The show is better when you are in, even if you are at 70%, even if your voice sounds like crap. But if your voice sounds like crap and it almost sounds like it hurts for him to talk, I need to do more, and I would expect Connor to do more of the talking as well.
And that's fair, yeah.
Well, am I on a max contract?
Yes.
I got to check my paycheck.
I don't know. What's your salary? I don't know your salary. I haven't asked you about that. I would expect Connor to pick up a little bit.
To pick up the slack.
Tobias Harris playing 20 minutes in the second half out of 24, right? 20 out of 24 minutes. 0 points and 3 rebounds.
Terrible.
That play.
No, that's terrible.
That play also at the end where DiVincenzo hits the game-winning shot. Remember, there was a missed basket before that. Tobias Harris was under the net like this. Isaiah Hartenstein had the easiest rebound of his life in the closing seconds of a game. That can't happen.
He did.
Tobias Harris was like this. Oh, is the ball going to come to me? So, yes, Maxi's effort at the end or Embiid's effort in the second half in other areas other than scoring should be discussed. I don't think we should go, well, Tobias isn't one of their star players, so we shouldn't rip him. I'll rip Kelly Oubre. He had 2 points in the second half. He did nothing in the second half of the game.
What we don't tend to do, though, is, and again, I'll say it, what we do not tend to do, and basketball fans across the league, across history of the game, do they focus on when a game is on the line, it's a one-possession back and forth, do they start talking about the guys that are down the food chain? They talk about the stars closing out games.
That should come
stars
first.
Doing it, and that should always come first to me.
Yesterday, you said the biggest storyline of game one was the bench and how the bench was outscored.
What was the biggest reason they lost?
Okay, it's the biggest reason they lost. That's not Joel Embiid or Tyrese Maxey. That's the bench.
No, it wasn't.
The bench wasn't good yesterday either. The bench had, what? Nico Batum finished with 6 points in the game, and Buddy Hield had 2, and Paul Reed had 2. They had 10 points.
They had 10.
They had 10 points on the bench. So they're like, just because the final play happened, that doesn't mean.
How much did the Villanova bench have? Oh, I'm sorry. The New York Knicks bench have.
Well, there's nobody. All the Villanovas are starter players.
Exactly, right.
But their bench finished with 16. So it wasn't as drastic as game one.
The differential was 6. The differential was 35 in the first game.
Well, no, but I'm just trying to make the
game.
point there. You were harping on the bench
because
yesterday.
It's a 6-point spread. You don't harp on it. That happens in any game.
I'm not harping on the bench today.
Right.
I'm just saying it's not always coming down to the stars. Sometimes there are other things that happen, like one of your max contract players, your lineup, having a great first half. Great first half. 10 points.
He was.
6 boards. He was close to a double-double in the first half. He finished with 10 and 9.
He had 3 more. He had 1 more rebound in the last 3 quarters than he had more than that. But in the second half, he had 1 more rebound than Joel Embiid had in the last 3 quarters. Yeah. Which can't happen.
No, it can't happen.
Can't happen.
It can't happen. Kyle Lowry and Tyrese Maxey should not be your leading rebounders in the second half. They both had 6.
No, should never be.
All right, so we'll get more of your reaction, but it is also NFL Draft Education Day. The players that the Eagles could be targeting in the first round. We're not saying this is who I want. We're saying I would like that player. I don't want Latu because he wants to be a fireman. I don't want him because of that reason. I would like Kenyon Mitchell, like you do, the cornerback out of Toledo.
Oh, yes.
So we had 31 mock drafts or 31 selections for the Eagles via 31 different mock drafts. I don't have all 32 picks and all 31 drafts. I didn't want to kill trees.
By the way, good job, Gunn.
Yeah, Brendan Gunn putting this all together.
Really nice work.
So one person has the Eagles taking Latu. One person has the Eagles taking Chop Robinson, which I don't think is going to happen.
No, it's not happening.
And one person has the Eagles taking Quinyon Mitchell. There are 2 people. Now we're going to start climbing up the ladders a little bit. Chad Reuter of NFL.com and the mock draft, not one specific person. They just did their mock draft. They both have the Eagles taking Jared Verse, edge rusher out of Florida State, which, Josh Sweat went to Florida State.
I know a little bit of him.
He had 9 sacks last season and 9 sacks the season before that.
Not moving the needle for me.
6'4", 260. Look, I mean, the measurables are there.
I think you could get him sliding back.
Well, now here's the interesting thing. So the Ringer has the Eagles taking him at 22. Chad Reuter of NFL.com has them trading 16 together.
See, no. I mean, well, here's one thing I don't like is, to me, I think this is a way for you to like mock drafts better.
No, I hate mock drafts.
No. I found the way you can like them better.
Why?
Well, first off, I disregard any mock draft where somebody says, this team traded up in my mock draft.
Okay.
You have no freaking.
No, you have no idea.
You have no freaking clue. So in other words, you're playing fantasy football. So that doesn't serve me.
Yes.
I always judge mock drafts by, here are the 32 players that go off the board in this mock draft. Here's 32. And I look and find out how much commonality there is. And usually you're going to find there's like 26 guys that are the guys that somebody will nail 26 out of the 32 picks, or 27 out of 32, or 25 out of the 32. By the way, if you get 25 or 26 of the first 32, you've had a really good mock draft.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
But they don't necessarily know where they're going.
Well,
don't play this team's trading up to get this guy because you have no freaking clue.
But you did like the trade. You did like the trade up to Quinyon Mitchell.
Oh, I would love it if they had it.
Yeah, exactly. I don't like that mock draft.
If it happens, that's fine. But that mock draft, it doesn't become a mock draft at that point because it throws everything off because people playing fantasy
Well, how
football.
about this? Jeff McClain, who we hope to speak to coming up.
Jeff.
I got to text him. I forgot to text him last night. It's too early.
You did not?
It's too early at 4 o'clock in the morning.
There you go.
So Jeff McClain wrote about Quinyon Mitchell. Howie Roseman's track record when drafting in the 20s isn't strong. It's likely he has several trade-up scenarios planned and a leap forward for Mitchell at number 16. In a swap with the Seahawks seems one of the most likely. Say what you want about the corner's pedigree. He projects as a quality pro. So the 16th pick has now been mentioned by Jeff McClain, and I see multiple other people. Chad Reuter, who I just told you about, Jonathan Jones, who I told you about, and there was one more on here that had them trading up to 16. So 16 seems to be the number for the Eagles to trade up to.
Here's the one thing, too, and again, it's I am not willing, absolutely out, on anything that involves the Eagles moving up where you're touching either one of the second-round picks. And that would be a big jump because you have to do a big jump to get up. Like, if you use one of the second-round picks, you're making a huge jump from 22.
Right.
You maybe can get to 12 by using a second-round pick. I am not in on any of that.
Okay. All right.
That's just me.
So, educational NFL draft day. We'll give you all these names. The Eagles are, people are saying they might target because of their NFL mock drafts. And, of course, reaction to Sixers-Knicks game 2 last night with the loss. I want to go to this next call because I just love the comment.
All right.
I'm going to go to Brian in the Northeast. The comment says, sick of always losing. What's up, Brian?
What's going on?
Dude, I think that's...
Speak for many.
I'm sick of making excuses, but it's the first round, right? Like we went through the torture of the I don't even want to say the word.
Don't say it. Yeah.
I said it. Sorry. We went through the torture of 4 or 5 years, and we're worried about the first round. Why are we worried about this shouldn't be a conversation. He's supposedly a best player in the NBA, and I don't want to get on Embiid. I actually like him, but we're in the first round. We played a play-in game. I know he was hurt, but okay, he was hurt, so now we're back, right? So we're lower seed than we thought we were. It's the first round, and we're down 0-2.
Brian, I don't have a problem with what you're saying.
But the one thing I will push back on is I don't think Joel Embiid is your biggest reason why you're down 0-2.
Yeah, but he's supposed to be the biggest reason you're up 0-2.
Okay, I understand that, but I mean, it's not like he's played a poor series.
I'm not saying, but it's always this. If we didn't have Simmons and this,
right? No, you're right there. And the injury thing. Look, it's unfortunately it's draining on people. It's draining on me. And I said this yesterday. I had a therapy session on the air with John and Connor. I'm riding with Joel Embiid until the day he is no longer playing in the NBA, or until the day he just can't play anymore, or he decides he's done. You name it. I'm riding with Joel Embiid, but it's draining. Like, I'm exhausted.
And I think that's what you're saying, Brian, is very similar to what Andrew's saying. But the fatigue is real. I cannot go through another offseason of people saying, well, next year Embiid's going to be healthy. Right. And next year things are going to work out.
I don't blame you.
Because I'm tired. I don't believe sunshine and lollipops. I don't believe.
No, I don't believe it anymore either. It's just like, this is it. Like, he's on the up. He's at least at the top of where he'll ever be, if not on the downside. So, like, when's it going to happen?
Well, we've been saying that for 3 years, and appreciate the call, Brian. We have been saying that for 3 years, and every year he's gotten better. The problem is he hasn't remained healthy.
He absolutely, what you just said, he has gotten better.
So I can't say that he's already been at the top. He may be. But the health thing.
It's not going to be different.
Now, here's my sick, twisted brain.
Okay.
And I guarantee you, I would say of the people that want to ride with Embiid till the end, 99.9% of the people have this exact same feeling. You know, the second he's no longer on the Sixers is his healthy season, and he wins a freaking championship.
I think you speak for many in regard to
99.9% of the people
I do not
that
think
want
that's
Embiid.
crazy.
If somebody says, I'm tired of Embiid, they're tired of Embiid. The people that want to ride with Embiid till the end, knowing his talent, there's also the fear that the second he goes to Miami or the second he goes to the Knicks, or I saw our old program director, Matt Nahagian, saying the Warriors should trade for Joel Embiid because he's
with what?
He's now
yeah,
out
but
in
with
Golden
what?
State.
Steph Curry. Call it
You're
even.
right. Exactly.
Go.
I know the second he goes to one of those teams, he stays healthy.
I don't believe it.
And I will never watch a game of basketball again in my life.
That would wound you beyond, and it would wound a lot of people.
I can tell Connor feels the same way.
Might not watch a sport. I gouge my eyes out.
Well, I can tell you this:
if bird box myself.
If someone's going to tell me that next year is going to be different, it's every year.
I know
it's every year.
You can't say.
And again, the one thing that's so aggravating about it is he is better in 2024 than he was in 3. He's better in 2023 than he was in 2022. So he's a guy who is freaking trying and doing everything he can. But I do not believe it's ever going to happen.
That's why I get upset when people call him soft.
Well, that's ridiculous.
Or he doesn't care.
I disregard that. That is such noise to me that anybody would ever accuse him of being soft.
Right. You don't play through those injuries,
dramatic,
and you don't get better every single year and be soft/not caring.
Dramatic,
yes,
I do.
Absolutely.
I think last night was a little bit of drama. I think it's like they're going. He looks like he's it's going to the fourth quarter.
The play that worried me the most, and they pointed it out in the broadcast too. I forget who. I think it might have been McBride who had the fast break. I think he missed the layup on that play, if I'm not mistaken. Embiid was at center court. And he wanted to try to run it down the block, which we've seen him do it before, where he's been able to run.
Yes,
because he's 7'2". It takes 3 steps, and he's at the rim. He tried to push it, and he just stopped. Like, he couldn't move.
I have no question on his effort. Execution at times, I have a question.
Yeah, absolutely.
But I don't question his heart. I don't question his effort. But I do believe that at some point he gets dinged up, and then he gets mopey, and he gets guarantee he feels like Brian the caller.
Well, I was about to say,
he feels like Brian the caller.
I can't blame him for being mopey when it comes to the injury side of things, because it's, oh my God, here we go again. I think his what were you saying? The days of our lives eyes from game 1.
Oh, it was so.
But I think that's a initial reaction. He may have felt a tweak and probably said, "You got to be freaking kidding."
I would just tell you, and it's just a personal thing, and is to me, it's not something I admire.
Okay.
When somebody is, woe is me.
But is it something you understand?
I honestly, Connor, and again, I don't want to. I don't want to make it about me. I don't admire that in people, and I try not to ever allow myself to display that. I don't allow myself to display that to my wife, to my child.
And I respect
to
that.
whatever.
Yeah.
It's just a thing for me.
But that's you.
I don't respect.
In my life where I hold myself to a standard, and if I see someone else not meet that, I say I understand because of their situation why they feel that way.
Okay.
So just with his track record, I get why he's mopey. I do.
I guess it's because I was raised, and whether it's good or bad, my wife hates it. I was raised with a parent that did the old suck it up, buttercup.
Yeah.
Come on, dust yourself off. Let's go. Let's go.
Could be generational.
Let's go. And I think absolutely
I think that's because, and here's where I think the first time I noticed you and I in terms of the generational thing, well, there was a couple of stuff, but when I immediately brought up Embiid's mental health.
Oh, yeah.
And you were like, I didn't even think about that.
No, when I said it, yeah.
That was my first, when Embiid got hurt again, my first thought wasn't season over. My first thought was, oh my God, is this guy okay?
And it's not my first thing ever.
Yeah, it was
and
mine.
That is can be.
And I'm more of a cruel person. Like, I don't.
Yeah, you're more cruel than I am.
I'm more cruel.
He is absolutely more cruel.
But that was my first thought.
I don't know that many people would guess that. Yes.
All right, so Jeff McClain unavailable today. So we'll get him closer to the draft.
We'll get him closer to the draft.
He's working hard. He's getting ready for the NFL draft.
And he's feeding the dog, probably.
Yes. But we do have his grades of the players that are available, and we'll continue to educate you and ourselves. This is not me saying you don't know these players. We're educating ourselves, too.
I'm taking notes
All these
over
mock
here.
drafts, the players that the Eagles may target, we'll continue to go through them as the show goes on. More of your calls, more of your texts on this Sixers reaction. You can climb in at 610-632-0975. It is Kincade and Salciunas. I do have a question about what can the Sixers do different, if there is anything. We'll discuss that next. 97.5 The Fanatic.
Fanatic Sports Update.
It's Tuesday morning. We're 2 days till the NFL draft. We're 2 days from Game 3, Sixers-Knicks at the Wells Fargo Center, in which the Sixers need to win to avoid going down 3-0 in the series, Johnny. And
they will.
You got good takeaways from Game 2. I'm glad that you have good takeaways. I can see where you have good takeaways. I just am not feeling confident about said takeaways.
You're not there yet. And I'm hoping that you will be there by our happy hour on Thursday at PJ Wellaghan's in Wynwood, their newest location. We'll be there 5 to 7, and I think you will. I think you'll come around. I don't think I'll just preview it. I don't think Thursday is going to be close.
I sure hope so.
I think it is going to be the proverbial get out the whooping stick, and maybe it'll be a party at. It'll be a party on Thursday.
I sure hope so. And then I hope we party Friday because of a Sixers win and a good Eagles draft pick in the first round. That would be a fun Friday.
The Sixers game will be well in hand before the Eagles ever pick. We will be able to shift our attention completely. And I'm feeling good about Thursday based on what I've seen last night. I know Nick Nurse had a great plan, and it should have worked.
All right, so to that. I teased it going to the break. It's like you're listening or something, John.
I enjoy listening to you.
Should the Sixers do anything different going into Game 3? So the plan, we know what the plan is. The plan has been to throw everything in the kitchen sink or but the kitchen sink at Jalen Brunson. Jalen Brunson, so far this series, Game 1, 8 of 26 from the field, 1 of 6 from 3. Contribute in other ways with 7 rebounds, 7 assists, 5 turnovers in Game 1. Game 2, 8 of 29, so an even worse shooting display. 1 of 6 from 3. Had 8 rebounds, had 6 assists, had only 1 turnover. But Jalen Brunson has not been killing the Sixers. He's been productive with 7 rebounds, 7 assists in Game 1, 8 rebounds in Game 2. The Sixers, the game slow down Jalen Brunson. That has worked.
And I think they executed it better last night.
I do too. Josh Hart was just hitting some ridiculous shot. I mean, he had also some wide open looks. Now, to Josh Hart's credit, he also had 15 rebounds yesterday. 15 boards. He had a double-double in the second quarter?
How many did, the top Sixer rebounder? 10?
It was Embiid with 10.
That's embarrassing.
That's embarrassing. Harris and Maxey both had 9.
That's embarrassing. He had 15.
He had 15 rebounds, and then Hartenstein and Brunson both had 8, so they also had some good rebounding numbers. But bottom line is the game plan has been slow down Jalen Brunson and try to do your best to not let the other guys destroy you, which they once again did. So I gave you those numbers from Jalen Brunson in Game 1 and 2. I'll just stick with last night. Josh Hart, 21 points, 4 of 7 from 3. Dante DiVincenzo, 19 points, 4 of 8 from 3. OG Anunoby, you're fortunate that he was 0 of 3 from 3. He only finished with 10 points. But then Hartenstein, he scores 14 points, and I'm pretty sure all of that was in the second half. It just sucks that the plan, I would say the plan has worked, but it's led to 2 losses. So do you do anything different?
No. Gut instinct? No. I may change before Thursday and say do something differently. But I right now, no.
Now, the change doesn't just have to be defensively. The change could also be offensively. We were talking about potentially doing a 2-big lineup. Nick Nurse himself said that. Now, was that gamesmanship, throw Tom Thibodeau off the scent? Because we never saw it. We never saw Embiid and Paul Reed on the court at the same time. We saw more Nico Batum last night. He played 32 minutes, but, 32 minutes where he finished with 6 points, 5 rebounds, and an assist. It's not like he really made a huge impact. He did a good job guarding Brunson.
He did.
Right? He did a good job.
No, he did a good job.
Everybody that had to guard Jalen Brunson did a good job yesterday. But then on the offensive end, it's Embiid, Maxey, and then you have to hope that somebody else can step up. And it looked like it was going to be Harris, and then it stopped.
Jalen Brunson, to me, and credit to the Sixers, I haven't been that impressed. I haven't been that impressed. I think the Sixers have had a really good plan for him, and I think he has not had an answer.
And if it wasn't for a ridiculous bounce, he's 0 of 6 from 3.
It was wild.
And the to win that basketball game.
Right.
But it was a ridiculous bounce that fell in. And Connor said earlier, we've seen a couple of those now in the playoffs, which just scars me for life.
I'm going to COVID the Nets and just put a brick of wood around them so no one can make anything anymore.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm tired. You know what? I don't think anything needs to change philosophy-wise with the Sixers. Like, I think their plan is good.
I think it's worse.
I think it's personnel. Like, do the same thing, but give those Buddy Hield minutes to campaign.
That's fine.
Do the same thing, but give some of those, I don't know if it's Tobias's minutes or Nico Batum's, but give something to Paul Reed. Like, don't change how you're guarding players.
Paul Reed was a mess against Hartenstein.
I know he
dude.
was. I know he was
unplayable.
But he wasn't out there with Joe. You put them both out there, and you put Joe on Hartenstein. You let Paul Reed do whatever he's going to do, but you just say, go get every rebound.
Well, and that was the thing. That was my biggest thing yesterday. Even though I'm not the biggest Paul Reed guy, I know Embiid doesn't have lift right now.
Right.
He can't jump. So it may be nice to have a Paul Reed out there to grab both offensive and defensive rebounds. And then another guy, and look, I don't think Ricky Council is going to go out there and drop 20. Right? Like, I don't think that's going to happen.
We're never going to go down, are we?
But I hate the mindset of I don't want to make it a desperate move. But then the desperate move comes when you're down 3-0.
Yes.
When the series is already over. And you're down 2-0, and you have a guy that made an impact to a point where you gave him a contract so that he could be on the playoff roster, and that contract has led to 0 minutes.
Can I give you something that'll make you smile today?
What's that?
Just a little thing. If someone's in the dumps driving to work today.
Or sitting at their seat right now, that's me.
Across from me, yes. Only 7.3% of teams that have trailed 0-2 come back to win the series.
Oh, that makes me feel so much better.
Okay,
Thanks, John.
That is 33 times in 449 chances. But 6 of the 33 have come in the last 3 playoffs.
Oh, okay.
All of a sudden,
since seedings don't matter as much,
and more time off between games.
That's
the NBA used to play every other night. Now the Sixers get 2 nights off before Game 3, and then you get another 2 nights off before Game 4, which helps Embiid. Yeah, helps the Sixers.
And by the way, the Sixers are not a typical 7th seed.
But they're not. But 18% of the teams that have come back from 0-2 have done it in the last 3 playoff seasons.
All right, well, that's good.
So hey, it's just something to give you a reason to breathe this morning.
Do we have any texts coming in, Connor, on our text line? You can text the show. We'll get to some calls as well at 610-632-0975.
We have like a billion texts coming in this morning. So anytime you want text, we got. So this is a check-in from Joe in West Philly. He says, you can't squeeze all the juice out of your star players, but Tobias Harris could have had at least 7 to 10 points and 4 to 5 more rebounds in the second half. The game would not have been in a situation to be lost.
And that was my point game 1. Tobias Harris finishing with 7 points. If he came close to his season average of 18, I'm not even asking him to score 18. If he comes close to his season average in game 1, they win. If Tobias does not put up a goose egg in 20 minutes in the second half, it might change the trajectory of the game. I'm not taking away blame from Embiid and from Maxey, but sometimes you got to rely on your teammates. And oh, by the way, your max once more, I can't ignore the contract.
And I'm going to do this real quick with this next text from Mickey D from Philly, because I begged this of Johan Rojas, and Castellanos too. Help me help you. I want to root for you guys. I'm trying to tell people you're good. Just be good. And Buddy Hield's the same thing. Mickey hear about refs, Embiid or Maxey. We get on Harris all year and how he's got to go. But what is Buddy here for? What did we get him for? At this point, we should have just kept what we had.
He's been a major disappointment. I was totally in favor of the trade because it made sense with this team. It still makes sense with this team. I don't know how much of an impact Marcus Morris is making with this team. Buddy Hield can shoot. The only problem is he's not shooting. He's holding on to the ball.
No, he looks spooked.
Three field goal attempts, and one of them was a layup because he grabbed the rebound. There was nobody there. Let's go to Donna in Alden. Donna, you're on 97.5 The Fanatic.
Good morning.
Hi, Donna.
Nice this morning.
Good. Okay, we've been better.
Okay, I've been better too. But listen, I'll be at the game.
I know you will be. You were there for the Heat game, and you rooted them in.
Yes. Listen, I'm going to do the same thing Thursday night. I'm still optimistic. Couple things of takeaways. I know you said we can't blame the refs, but they can't miss that call for me. You can't miss that kind of stuff.
That was
egregious
call.
That was egregious.
And what I don't like people coming down on Embiid. I understand he didn't have any rebounds second half, but I think his body, he can only jump so many times on that knee, and I just think
but then
he have it in him.
But I got to tell you, Donna, if he's playing in the games and he's able to put up the numbers that he does, and then at big times he can't, then absolutely he can't be blameless. You can't say, well, we got to look at all the great things he did and celebrate them, and then in crunch times he doesn't. You have to look at it all, and it's not the lead story, but it's part of the story.
I don't believe he's doing it on purpose.
No, he's not. Of course not.
No, it's because he can't. It's because he can't move.
He has the hops to do it. That's all. I think Embiid, Maxey are doing what they're supposed to do. The rest of the team is standing around, for lack of better words, just twiddling their fingers. They're like, we're not going to win if our bench won't play. Tobias Harris.
Right.
All we need from him.
And to that point, Donna, and have fun Thursday night. Root them in. We appreciate the calls always. To that point, John, we've talked about how the Sixers have held Jalen Brunson to very poor shooting.
I think they've done an amazing job.
Josh Hart stepped up. Dante DiVincenzo stepped up last night. Miles McBride stepped up night one. Bojan Bogdanovic stepped up night one. Their star player has been kept at bay by the Sixers, and everybody else on that, a lot of players on that team have stepped up.
But their team defends.
Yes.
Ours does not.
Yeah, and that's there's an effort. And that's
our guy. We leave guys wide open.
And I told you that was a Tom Thibodeau team, and I was worried about the perimeter defense of this team.
They're there
going into the series. I just didn't think it would lead to a 2-0 deficit through 2 games. All right, coming up next. Speaking of those Villanova players, listen. We've been saying it. We've been saying it. We've been saying it. We've been saying it. Well, last night there was a disgusting act on social media, and the defendant told on themselves, John.
They did.
Case dismissed. Guilty. It's Kincade Salciunas, 97.5 The Fanatic.
The real and inside story on the Phillies.
97.5, The Fanatic. Unfortunate big day reacting to the Sixers' loss in New York last night, going down 2-0 in the series. Got a tweet from Bill Brown. Can the streaking Phillies get a segment, maybe even a mention, even if it's Chunas wondering who Rob Thompson's favorite Sixer is? Well, I know coming up at today's headlines with Connor Thomas, we might give a little Phillies love. I don't know who Rob Thompson's favorite Sixer is.
I don't think he'd even know a Sixer.
I
don't think Rob would even know a Sixer.
Yeah, he does. He's Canadian.
No.
His favorite is probably Kyle Lowry.
He would not.
No, Shea Gilgeous-Alexander. He plays for Team Canada.
Well, he's not a Sixer.
Yeah, I know, but that might be his only NBA player that he knows.
Did Joel
Embiid
Embiid try to get Canadian citizenship too?
No, I don't think so.
Try to find an Olympic spot? Stop. You just asked.
I can't believe you're still hung up on that.
It's France.
He picked the United States of America. He picked the powerhouse. He wants
after begging France first.
He wants to win
bigger fish to
win
fry.
a championship
After begging France
because it might not
first.
happen here.
Hi, France. Can I get a passport, please?
All right. An absolute egregious tweet was sent out last night.
Oh boy.
A tweet
It's terrible.
that makes you guilty of all charges. Or we should just say solidifies what a lot of us say.
Yep.
That Villanova is not a Philly school.
It's not.
And you're probably going, what do you mean? What do you mean Villanova's? I love Villanova. I started watching them 10 years ago, and I haven't stopped. And then you probably stopped like the last 2 seasons because they've sucked.
Well, first they're a Delco school.
Yeah. They're not a Philly school. All right. Last night at 10:21 p.m.
This is horrible.
Minutes
It's horrible.
after the Sixers lost Game 2, the Villanova men's basketball Twitter account, our guys, Jalen Brunson and DiVincenzo, with 2 huge threes to seal the winning Game 2, and they used the Ben Simmons smoke coming out of the nose emoji. And then they put the stat line. Brunson, 24 points, 8 rebounds, 6 assists. DiVincenzo, 19 points, 4 rebounds. Josh Hart, 21 points, 15 rebounds. This was all against the Philadelphia 76ers, the Philadelphia 76ers.
Read the freaking room.
Villanova,
Read the room.
not a Philly school.
No, read the room.
Period.
Read the room.
That's what we now know. It's official that Villanova is not a Philly school. I understand they played for their team. I understand this is probably a recruiting tactic to say, look at these 3 guys in the playoffs. They played with our program with, oh, by the way, a much better head coach. You can't tweet that out.
Why are you peeing on the local community? Why are you taking the moment to spike the football in front of the local community? Because you don't feel like you're part of the local community.
Must be.
You're not connected. You are worried. You're rooting for New York. That is a tweet that comes from we're rooting for them.
And let me just
we're not rooting for the Sixers.
Let me just point this out as well. 8:44 p.m.
Yes.
So a little over an hour from tip off. Josh Hart's heating up.
An hour from
post tip off. Yeah.
Right.
Josh Hart's heating up. Fire emoji. 19 points, 10 rebounds, 4 or 5 from 3. Now they did tweet a Sixer-related tweet.
Oh, did they?
It was the moment when Kyle Lowry dove into the crowd and hugged Tim Thomas. And they just tweeted, once a Wildcat, always a Wildcat. They didn't tweet a stat line. They didn't tweet, look at 38-year-old Kyle Lowry still going hard. No, they just did a Kyle Lowry, Tim Thomas tweet. The Brunson, DiVincenzo, Josh Hart.
You know what? You probably have some of the proud alumni running out right now to go buy a Knicks shirt.
And
many of them already have it.
Our friend Pat Egan, who did a tremendous job last night with the Sixers All Access pregame show, hour-and-a-half special, he has pointed out that most Villanova students are New York fans. But Villanova wants to claim that they're a Philly school. Despicable.
I would tell you, I drive often through the campus, just often through that area. And I would just say to you, just watch the students during baseball cap season when it's not winter cap season.
Oh, you'll see those Mets
hats, Yankee hats. Like it's not. Look, it's not. They're not all Phillied up. They're not. And more importantly, those are egregious, not paying attention tweets.
Well, this might be an egregious not paying attention call. Let's go to Craig in Deptford. Hello, Craig.
Hey, guys. So I got a couple of answers to the 2 questions. The one question was about
this is a different Craig. Okay.
And what could we do different Me and Kincade talked about it yesterday.
Oh, no, this is the same
Embiid is spending too much time on the perimeter. I can't help but focus on the numbers. You're not going to get nothing from Oubre, and you're not getting nothing out of Harris, what you think what he's worth for his pay. But here's the deal: he shot 2 for 8 in the first game from 3. He shot 2 for 9 or 2 for 10 in the second game. Shaquille O'Neal said on TNT last night that in the playoffs, superstars need to have 5 points.
Let me just pause you there real quick. I just want you to answer me the question. Why do you think Joel Embiid attempted 8 threes in Game 1, and why do you think he attempted 9 threes in Game 2?
Answer to that question is that's his game. We often talk about his talent,
inaccurate.
But his game is to do that.
But
and
Craig, look, I understand part of your point. But what I'm going to tell you is when you're one of the guys in the NBA who gets to the foul line more than any star, he's not getting to the foul line because he's putting up threes. He's getting there because he's getting into the paint. He's banged up. So he's leaning on not getting in and playing what has been his game. He's playing this other game and it's not as effective.
And that's fine. All I'm saying is at the end of the day, the game ended with the biggest player on the field taking the lowest percentage shot that the game had.
It was a horrible shot. I agree with you there. And I will say this, Craig, and thanks for the call, man. Maxey kind of giving it up with like 1 second left on the clock.
What's that about?
I know that Hardenstein was in front of him.
Yeah.
It was a hot potato.
That's a moment. Because you want the ball.
Because, either one of them could have wanted the ball. But the problem is, it was like, shot's not here. Let me give it hot potato to Joel Embiid.
Exactly.
Now, again, the Joel Embiid on the perimeter thing, I thought that was the same Craig from yesterday.
There's a reason.
Joel Embiid, in his limited time this year, averaged 3.5 3-point shots a game. In his career, he's averaged 3.5 3 shots per game. Okay? He took 8 in Game 1. Game 2 because he can't get on the block. Now, should he maybe dish it and should there be a better look?
Yes.
He took some bad threes yesterday.
He took with by the way, with plenty of time on the shot clock.
But the reason why he's doing it is because he can't get, and I love your man Shaq. Shaq and Embiid are built different. And that's okay. That's okay.
I don't feel like it's okay. It's just it's his circumstance.
Embiid does more than what Shaq could do.
It's Embiid's circumstance that physically he can't do.
That's a big part of it. All right, we continue the conversation. Your next chance to win $1,000 coming your way next. Today's headlines with Connor Thomas and more Sixers reaction all day today right here. Kincade Salciunas, 97.5 The Fanatic. to give you another player on NFL Draft Education Day.
I like this little exercise we're doing today.
I'm giving you the players that all the draft. We have 31 different NFL draft analysts and their latest mock drafts and who they have the Eagles selecting. One person had Laiatu Latu, the edge rusher from UCLA. One person had the Eagles taking Chop Robinson from Penn State.
Not happening.
One person took Kenyon Mitchell, the cornerback out of Toledo, who Andrew DeCecco has been all over, but in this mock draft, they have him trading up to 16 because Mitchell probably won't be there at 22. But many people have mentioned 16 as that landing spot if the Eagles were to trade up because Seattle could trade back based off of what their needs are right now or lack of at the 16th overall selection. So why not acquire some picks? We went to Jared Verse, who two people have him. He's the edge rusher out of Florida State. 9 sacks last season, 9 sacks the year before that. I feel like that's a very typical Eagles move to make edge rusher or offensive lineman, right? And we'll get to offensive lineman because we haven't done that just yet, and I'll get to that right now. Two people, Andrew DeCecco, who you'll hear Thursday with us for the hour of Inside the Birds. He and let's see, who else has the Eagles taking him? Charles Davis, my buddy from NFL.com. CBS does a tremendous job. They are going with this is what the Eagles do. They both have them taking the offensive tackle out of Alabama, J.C. Latham.
I would not have a problem with that pick. I don't think that's happening.
Now, we'll talk to Andrew on Thursday when he's in with us for an hour. My question would be, can he play right guard to start, or are you drafting another guy who's going to sit a year, if not two? Remember, Cam Jurgens was drafted 2 years ago, did not play his first year because you still had Sayamalu. He moves to right guard because Sayamalu walks in free agency. Right now, I don't know who your starting right guard is, so can Latham play right guard until it is time that Lane Johnson is no longer with the Eagles?
I'm not well-versed enough to know if he could.
And we'll talk to Andrew about it on Thursday.
Andrew would have the idea on that one.
But that's two people that have the Eagles selecting J.C. Latham, Alabama, as a potential first-round pick. And I'll try to find out if he's a guy that people are saying could play guard.
Is he going to be there? I mean, he's going to be in that area.
So here's Lance Zierlein, who I like a lot. He's an NFL draft analyst for NFL.com. He says he's a bulldozer of a human with upper and lower body power to forcibly evacuate run lanes and instantly upgrade a team's ground attack. Latham's body type is girthy, and he is elite drive blocking talent. He's operating a variety of run schemes, but will be an average move blocker both laterally and when climbing to the second level. His pass sets are well balanced with good initial quickness and active hands. I don't see any. Oh, here you go. Latham's size, strength, and talent give him a chance to become a heralded right tackle or Pro Bowl caliber guard.
Okay, well then that does play to it right there then.
And that to me, I've been stuck on this Tyler Guyton thing because Lane Johnson has worked out with him. And I know Jason Kelsey kind of did a similar thing with Cam Jurgens. Not one person out of these mock drafts mentions Guyton out of Oklahoma, the offensive tackle that could play right guard to start. This makes perfect sense. This is what I think the Eagles will do. It's not what I want the Eagles to do. It's what I think the Eagles will do, and I won't have a problem with it because they've been doing it for 24 years and it's worked.
I would not have a problem with it. It would sort of bum me out a little bit.
Because it's not sexy.
It's not sexy. But and I really do believe that defense is so much more of a glaring need.
But right guard, as of right now, is a huge position of need because it's between Steen and Matt Hennessy?
I think there are so many things in defense that are more of a priority.
I agree, but
than the offensive line.
But
that are far
don't forget, John.
When you say a glaring need, I'm not sure.
Don't forget, John. They're drafting. He's not focusing on 2024. It's about years moving forward as well. All right, it's 8:06. Time now for today's headlines with Connor Thomas.
Today's headlines with Connor Thomas.
All right, what do we got, Connor?
Finally, a minute late. I was waiting. We're going to have some positivity.
I'm helping the Eagles content, too. Eagles.
So, well, Phillies right now in today's headlines. Yesterday,
good.
The Phils win their 7th straight. They shut out the Reds. Ranger Suarez has pitched 25 consecutive innings of shutout baseball. This is unbelievable. Here's how it sounded.
I would say this is probably his last inning. I know Soto's warming up now. But based on what he did his last outing, complete game shutout, I think Rob would be content with 7. Swing and a miss. He got him. 5 strikeouts. JT flips it to first in time. And the inning is over. 1, 2, 3, 7 shutout innings for Ranger Suarez.
Dude, every starting pitcher is trying to outdo what the previous one did. And I'm not comparing them to Halladay, Lee, Oswalt, Hamels. But if you remember, that was a similar storyline. Halladay would go 7 shutout. Cliff Lee would go complete game the next day. Right? It almost seemed like they were battling within one another. Like it almost seemed like a fun competition. You're getting that right now with the Phillies.
No, you are. And it's a lot of – they're so much fun to watch. The efficiency of Ranger Suarez is amazing because in the first couple innings, he was having trouble with the strike zone. And he got lucky that it was the second inning. He was really like trying to. It seemed like he was just off a little bit.
Yeah.
He fixes
and
it.
He dialed in.
And he also puts he fields that position so beautifully.
And how about the offense too? 7 runs,
7 runs,
5 straight games.
That's
how about
good.
Cody Clemens going yard? Is there a competition at first base?
I think Harper could take all the time he needs. It's on the kid, by the way.
Congrats on the kid.
Oh, so the baby did come.
Well, I don't know, but they're gonna have him.
Well, I mean, yeah. I said
That's why he's on the paternity leave.
I understand. Let's wait till it happens.
Okay. Well, I don't know.
I'm always spooked with those things.
You're not a parent, Connor.
I get spooked with those things.
I don't. Not remotely.
Stay in your lane, bro.
There you go.
What's next?
We're gonna stick with baseball, but we're gonna go to New York, and this was an interesting thing.
Dude, this was awesome and horrible at the same time.
And speaking of officiating,
Awesome
which
and horrible.
Been a bit of a conversation on today's show. Aaron Boone had a bit of an early run-in with an umpire during the Yankees game where, well, this happens.
I'm looking for him to get hit by the pit. You got anything else to say? You're gone. Okay, Aaron? We're done.
There you go. And now Aaron's saying I didn't say anything.
You're gone.
Aaron's saying, hold on a second, I didn't say anything.
It sounds like a bar fight going on. So what happened was Aaron Boone was warned by the home plate umpire to not say anything else. The camera's literally on Aaron Boone, like checking his nails.
Right.
And the next thing you know, a fan yells something and gets Aaron Boone ejected.
Because he thought it was Aaron Boone.
I don't think I've ever seen that.
Where was that game in New York?
Yes, it was.
There was nobody there.
No, it was very empty.
It was empty. I thought the Yankees were supposed to be this incredible fan base.
No,
there
was weird.
Nobody there. And that's why it probably sounded like it may have been Aaron Boone because there was one guy.
Yeah.
That was sitting behind the dugout pretty much.
They removed a G. Costanza from the stands after that game, blaming him for the incident. So
that was amazing, dude.
But that was certainly something.
That's terrible, though.
No, it is terrible because Aaron Boone should not be ejected for that.
No, that's bad.
But they can eject Aaron Boone anytime he wants.
Umpire was in his feelings, and he ejected because of what a member in the crowd said.
Last thing we want to get into here, we're going to talk a little bit about something interesting that you guys haven't dove into yet. I'll play you Nick Nurse's comments. I know we played this already, but if anyone didn't hear them, here's something Nick Nurse had to say after the Sixers-Knicks game 2 last night.
The first thing is, obviously, they score. We take a look at getting it in quick. We don't get it in quick. I call timeout. Referee looked right at me, ignored me, went into Tyrese. I called timeout again. Then the melee started. And, yeah, I mean, I guess I got to run out onto the floor or do something to make sure and get his attention. But I needed a timeout there to advance it. Would have been good, but couldn't get it.
So here's my question. It's not so much the Nick Nurse comments, but it more just sets up the conversation. Because the Sixers, per multiple reports from insiders, plan to file a grievance against the NBA because of the officiating in games 1 and 2. We haven't really gotten into that aspect of it. Are we at the point with these filing grievances or playing games under protest? Does that ever pop into your mind as an actual strategy? Maybe not to get anything overturned, but to change the course of officiating later in the series. Do you have any thoughts on the actual strategy there?
It could be a desperation move. Look, it's not. We're not going to wake up Thursday morning and the series is now tied 1-1.
No,
right? Because they filed a grievance. Like nothing's going to change. It's going to be a 2-0 series lead. But to your point, Connor, that might be a move where now Adam Silver or whoever handles the officiating says, all right, look, you've been on watch, you've been on notice because they're now filing a grievance. And maybe they study a bit more. I mean, that's now 2 games in a row where somebody's jersey, and Embiid's jersey is being ripped off by Hartenstein.
That was the first quarter, though.
Yeah, Yeah, not the same as Maxey.
It was so egregious last night because of the situation, and as you point out, with a referee on the baseline.
On the baseline, watching it happen.
And that's what he has to be watching for.
I mean,
because he knows the strategy would be for them to stop the clock.
I get swallowing the whistle and letting contact at the rim.
Okay.
You can't. If Maxey's jersey was being pulled 5 feet behind them.
It was terrible.
Like, that can't happen.
No.
So I wonder, maybe to your point, Connor, it's a strategy to try to get some help, especially when you're back on your home court. We all know about home court calls because of the reaction from fans. It is a thing in the NBA. It's probably not as much as we make it out to be, but I do think there is an impact to it.
So there have been rare instances where grievances have been accepted, like 1 in a million.
And how are they resolved?
You have to replay from the point of the issue. So you know what would be the most Sixers thing ever? Is they accept the grievance.
And they lose.
They turn it over again. And then another 3 gets hit. It's like you lose game 2 twice.
No, now you have Batum inbounding in that situation.
And this team's cursed. You can have anybody inbounding.
Hey.
I'm a broken man now.
Guess what? I want you fixed by Thursday night.
Speaking of that.
Fixed.
I want you to go to SPCA.
I don't want to add to the pain, but Jeff Kerr from CBS, who does a great job covering the Eagles.
Hi, Jeff.
He put this tweet out.
What?
All losses for Sixers in playoffs in last 7 years. The confetti game, which is when we thought Bellinelli hit the 3, but it ended up being a 2. The Embiid flu game, where he ended up playing poorly because he stayed out late with, what was it, Trevor Noah? Or no, what's his name?
Noah.
Trevor Noah, that's
Trevor
yeah,
Noah.
Trevor.
Absolutely unfunny Trevor Noah. Completely unfunny. Why were you hanging out with him?
The Kawhi shot, also in that series. Blowing a 26-point third-quarter lead to the Hawks. Simmons passing up the dunk in Game 7 against the Hawks. The Heat beating the Sixers and hearing Tobias Harris over me, even though Jimmy Butler's lying in that story, but whatever. The Game 6 collapse last year where Embiid doesn't demand the ball. And now last night, blowing a 5-point lead with 30 seconds left. And it's also how you blew it.
I don't like Kerr's tone. I don't like your tone, Jeff Kerr.
Look, he's just trying to vent.
No, I think he's being right. He is.
He is venting.
Oh,
and
he is.
I
and
appreciate
a big Sixer
it.
fan.
I appreciate the venting because I think we all feel the exact same way. All right, let's continue the conversation as we are reacting to the Sixers' loss to the Knicks last night. Connor, do we have any more texts coming? I'll go to the phones, but get me some more texts. You can text and call. It's the same phone number, 610-632-0975. And coming up in a little bit, I want to talk about a press conference that I didn't like. And
you didn't like it?
It's more of a you thing. You are more critical of the press conferences than I am. Something really bothered me last night. We'll get to that in a little bit. Let's go to John in Center City. John, you're on 97.5 The Fanatic.
Hey, guys.
Hey, Johnny.
John.
Just wanted to bring up a point. I'm a season ticket holder. I sit on the floor in the BB section, and I called up my agent last night. I told him I'm done. I'm all done. NBA's all fixed. It's just from Vince McMahon running it. Adam Silver doesn't get involved enough. And as far as I'm concerned, I mean, we had a number of opportunities. The officiating dictates the result of the game. I got to step away. I'm no longer an NBA fan. Played college basketball, season ticket holder, gave them up last night. I'm all done.
So you think the fix is in?
I'll tell you the scenario so you'll know. Back and win 2 dramatic games in Philadelphia. Then they'll go back to the Garden, and it'll be a dramatic overtime game, which the Knicks will win. It's ridiculous. I'm doing great with FanDuel.
That's a promo code Fanatic,
John,
man.
can I ask you, if you're not using the tickets for Sunday, can Andrew and I go?
Yeah, I'll take them. We'll get your info, John. We appreciate
there you go.
it.
I mean, I don't want to see the tickets go to waste.
No, that sucks, man. Like that feeling of
that feeling is
I'm
terrible.
done. I'm done, and I know people say that.
John will
a
be
lot.
back. John will be back. He's feeling it this morning. I get it. He'll be back.
It's just that feeling sucks.
It's terrible.
Where it's life. The breakup, right? When you realize the breakup's done, right? The relationship, like. That feeling sucks. and when it's one of your favorite teams that you put so much time in watching, loving, supporting, in his case, financially. I mean, those seats I'm sure aren't cheap. You know, bragging about his success on the home court on the court.
That's why I'm hoping he's going to come through. Game 4. I'll be down there.
But man, it's just that's a horrible feeling, and I know I'm not going to. This series is not over yet. I just know what's coming if they do lose this series. And it's going to be a hard day when I'm going to have to talk about the feelings toward Embiid for a lot of people.
Yep.
Every year, it's gotten louder and louder, the people that are ready to move on. And for some of you, it's not because you don't like the guy.
No, it's not.
It's just the fatigue.
And more importantly, it's thinking that something is going to be different at this point. And Andrew, I'm going to tell you flat out.
That's me.
I'm going to tell you. Then you're looking for a unicorn. You're looking for something to happen that's not.
But here's the thing: he is a unicorn.
Happening. Yeah, but it doesn't.
He is a unicorn.
No, he's not a unicorn. But he's not a unicorn when it comes to this. He's never going to be healthy
until he goes to another freaking team and wins 3 championships.
And that fear that you've got of that, I get what you have. I think your fear, though, bigger than that, is the fear of what happened. I don't even want to get into it. Because to me, I don't want to see it happen.
Yeah,
and
you just heard John. You just heard John's call. They're going to even the series at 2 games apiece.
He's already looked at the script, but John, we'll look forward to it. I mean, Sunday on the floor sounds good.
All right, what do we have on the text line, Connor?
All right, we got an unnamed text here saying we need Buddy Hield to give us what McBride is giving them. We are getting no scoring from the bench, and we came in saying how long this bench was. We need them to show it in the biggest moments.
Okay.
That's fantastic.
I have this written down. For the 9 o'clock segment, going into it, I write down my teases.
You do a good job of that.
I said there's a major factor in this series that favors the Knicks. It's not just talent, it's also mentality, and I'll tell you what it is next. I'll tell you right now, McBride didn't have as good of a game as he did in Game 1.
No.
Did he look like he was bothered at all by his play?
Nope.
No, he kept on playing.
Nope.
These Sixers, here's your bench. Batum, who was unconscious against the Heat, right? But that's not his game, and you know that. I don't think Batum might not combine for 20 points in this series, right? Like, that's just not his game. Your scoring option off the bench is Buddy Hield, and he is playing scared. Whereas McBride, Bogdanovich, hell, even Mitchell Robinson, even though he's not a scoring threat, he's just being physical down low. McBride and Bogdanovich just go out there. They missed, doesn't matter. They're going to take another shot. Bogdanovich was 0 for his first 3 from 3. He then made 2 big threes.
AJ says to you, I get your frustration, Andrew, with the people, he goes, but I don't see any mopiness on the Knicks.
I'm not frustrated.
He said when things, as far as like where, you understand the mopiness of Embiid, the mopiness of, he says, I don't see any mopiness from the Knicks.
No,
he said even when things aren't going well.
Yeah, they keep on playing. All right, we'll continue the conversation. We'll get more into this bench talk because I did want to take some more time to talk about that in the minute going into the commercial break. But also, there was a post-game press conference yesterday that I did not appreciate the questioning. And I don't normally do this, but I needed to bring it up because there's a reason why we haven't played anything from Tobias Harris from yesterday's post-game press conferences. There's a reason why. Because nothing was really asked. And I have a problem with it. Also, we'll play it one more time. LeBron James had his eyes on the Sixers. It's Kincade and Salciunas, 97. last day of this incredible contest that we're running thanks to Avello Airlines. We are giving away 4 more round trip for 2, so technically 8 flights, but every winner gets 2. So that they can bring a guest to wherever they want to fly. Go to the contest page, 975thefanatic.com. Nominate someone who you think deserves to win 2 round-trip flights on Avello Airlines. Could be a teacher, firefighter, friend who definitely needs the vacation. We've been reading all these stories that have been heart-wrenching. It has not been fun reading them, but it has been fun giving away the flights to winners who are absolutely deserving. The hardest part is there are so many people that are deserving, and obviously not everyone can win, unfortunately.
But still get in. We have not picked the winners.
Correct.
So you can still get in today by going 975thefanatic.com. Our
last 4 winners will be this Friday, April 26th. It's all sponsored by Avello Airlines and Wilmington Airport. Delaware's favorite airport is close home and has convenient parking, shorter lines, and an easy, relaxed atmosphere. To fly Avello out of the Wilmington Airport, visit AvelloAir.com. All right, 2 press conferences that I want to react to, and then we'll get back to the phones. You can climb on the phone line. 632-0975. I want to start with the local team. So, this morning, because I'd be lying to you if I said I stayed up for the press conferences. We have to get up
I had
4 o'clock in the morning.
I had to ditch.
So I do my, listen through the press conferences. I look at the cut sheet that we have. And there were no cuts for Tobias Harris. None. The full press conference was available, but no cuts. I'm like, let me hear what Tobias Harris had to say about his, and I have said this because I don't want people thinking I'm unfair. He had a great first half. 10 points, hit 2 threes.
And you led with that.
Yeah.
You said it from the beginning.
Had a great first half. 10 points, 6 rebounds, but it's a typical Tobias Harris game. In the first quarter of a lot of games, he'll hit a couple shots where you go, oh, wow, okay, Tobias might be a factor here today, a positive factor. And he disappears. At least it was an entire first half. But in the second half, 0 points on just 3 field goal attempts and 3 rebounds. Somebody asked me earlier today on Twitter, and I forget who it was, I apologize, asking me if he's the worst max contract player of all time. He might be. He might be. Timofey Mozgov, I think, may be worse. But that was a long time ago. That's before the money it is now. So I'm listening to the press conference, and I love our media that cover all the teams. I love it. Tobias Harris basically was playing on Connor Thomas's men's softball team.
Wouldn't make the team.
These softball questions that were thrown his way. Not one question of, hey, what happened in the second half? I don't need the reporter going, hey, why'd you suck? I'm not asking that. Obviously, there's professionalism to it. It was, hey, how'd you feel about the way
How do you feel?
Well, how'd you feel about the way Maxey played?
Why would you be asking that question of him?
Did you feel better about today's game via the team compared to game 1? Yeah, we played better, blah, blah, blah. There was not a single question of, hey, Tobias, you had 10 points, 6 rebounds in the first half. A little bit different in the second half. You don't have to be aggressive and say, you scored 0 in the second. What was the difference for you between the first half and the second half?
How did they defend you differently?
Nobody asked the question.
What was the reasoning? Yeah, that's ridiculous.
And it bothered me.
And honestly, and for my students as they prepare for their final on Wednesday night, the idea, how do you feel? What does it feel like? Did it feel? Tell me what you were feeling. What was going through your head? These are questions that should get you an F. You get a grade off. They're horrible questions. That's horrible.
My 2 least favorites are what is the vibe and what's the message.
Tell us, I
hate those questions.
What is the feel like? How are you? What were you feeling? What was going through your head as you got ready to take that last shot? Well, I think what was going through my head was trying to make it. I mean, it's so freaking stupid. And honestly, we do. We take your grade off. Take your grade off with stupid questions.
I just don't understand how nobody could. And it was a 5.5-minute press conference, multiple questions.
It's unbelievable.
And not one about, hey, what happened in the first half compared to the second half for you specifically as an individual.
And it doesn't have to be accusatory. You can say, you can phrase it as, what did the Knicks do to change the way they defended you? Because the first half to the second half was a big difference.
Because in the first half, he took 8 field goals. He took 4 threes. In the second half, he took 3 field goals. He took 1 3.
And how do you feel about Maxey's performance?
Yeah.
So somebody is writing a piece about Maxey, and they just need a quote from you for the piece. That's not supposed to be the way it's done. It's not. Why am I asking Tobias Harris what he thinks about Tyrese Maxey's performance?
I want to hold the player accountable.
Come on.
His second half was abysmal. Now, another press conference. This one happened. I did the thanks to Google Maps. This happened 1,778 miles away.
That's good research by you.
That's a long way away.
I wish it was 1776 because that could have been a good omen. But it was
we could lie and say it was. No one's going to check.
What is everybody checking?
1,778 miles is the distance from Madison Square Garden to where the Denver Nuggets play. The Ball Arena, something like that. Ball
Great
Arena,
name.
thank you. The Ball Arena. LeBron James had his post-game press conference and was asked about the officiating in his game. Lakers now down 2-0 in that series to the Nuggets. But he didn't stop with just the Lakers game.
What are you talking about?
I don't understand what's going on in the replay center, to be honest. I think I said it this year or last year, whatever. D'Lo clearly gets hit in the face on a drive. It doesn't make sense to me. It makes no sense to me. Sorry I didn't answer your question, but and then I just saw what happened with the Sixers Knicks game too. What are we doing?
So he had an eye on the Sixers Knicks. I'm sure there was like an ESPN Sports Center on in the locker room, and he's probably going, "Wait, they didn't call a foul on that on the Maxey play?"
Now, someone will tweet out today that he had a Malvern brochure in his locker as he was making that comment.
Hold on. The Sixers won the four-way tie. They're drafting 16th overall. Bronny James.
Sounds good.
With the 16th overall pick in the 2024 NBA draft, the Philadelphia 76ers have selected Bronny James.
No, they would say, with the 16th pick, the Sixers are going to take somebody who shouldn't even be drafted this year.
Yeah, John, that's par for the course. They do that every year. Why not take
hashtag Bronny for Bron?
No.
I bet you LeBron doesn't let them lose these two games in this series. Bam! Let's go to the phones. Let's go to Taji in Mount Airy. Fanatic.
What's going on, guys?
What's up, brother?
Thank you,
doing,
buddy.
man?
Good to have you aboard.
Yeah. I have 2 points. If y'all could let me get to the second point, it's important.
Yeah, of course, of course.
But my first thing is y'all were talking about the strategy, Nurse's strategy earlier. And what can he change? Y'all said y'all are cool with his strategy, but personnel is part of the strategy, right? Wouldn't y'all agree with that?
Yes.
Well, he doesn't pick his personnel.
Well, no,
his personnel is presented to him.
He could play Ricky Council.
He could.
Yeah, like the rotation is what I'm talking about.
Oh, okay,
So,
I got you.
Yeah, but Paul Reed has to play because when you got the big man, like Embiid is clearly hobbled in the second half, and he's dragging that foot. Like I don't think we're giving him enough credit for just being out there.
I agree.
He can't jump for rebounds. His reason for being out there at this point is basically just being in the middle and providing a presence and allowing them to function offensively because there's inept without him on the floor.
Yeah, and by the way, still even in the second half where you could tell he was limber, he still finished with 18 points because that mid-range game was working.
Exactly. Like he's pushing through as much as he can. You're talking about moping, but I see a man out there doing his best. Paul Reed has to provide him some relief defensively and rebounding and all that extra stuff that Embiid does.
Does that mean Paul Reed giving Embiid more time on the bench, or are you playing them together?
No. You got playing with him.
Right.
And I've been calling for this all season because this is partly part of the reason Embiid gets injured. He has way too much responsibility for somebody that size on his team. You see how inept they are without him on the floor because it's like Daddy Embiid is out there. They can play, but when he's not, they have no idea what to do. He's just doing too much on both ends of the floor. All right. So that's my first point. All right. So kind of related to that, y'all are saying that he looks like you don't like how his eyes looked or something like that.
Saturday when he went down, I honestly thought we were heading towards an amputation or something with those eyes.
I don't think anybody realizes this, but something is wrong with his left eye. Like he can't.
Both eyes.
No,
he was doing this was before that.
No, but John, yesterday, and thanks for the call, Tom. Today, he was wearing glasses.
No, I got you.
And I don't know if he had an eye injury.
He's got something going on.
No, I thought the eye thing happened after that.
Right.
The game. It happened Saturday afternoon. He got poked in the eye.
I don't think
on Saturday.
Taji knew exactly what you were talking about.
Oh, he got poked in the eye Saturday after the incident when he was on the floor. That happened in the second half. It didn't happen in the first half.
What you're saying is the
eyes where he's laying there on the floor and it's, oh my gosh.
The way he looks, his expression is what you're talking about.
He has a body language issue.
He always has.
And he always has.
Yeah.
He always has.
And he's the greatest basketball player in the world. So we'll take the trade-off, yeah?
I will take the trade-off.
Okay?
Unless it affects his teammates.
He's a fantastic player. If you don't think bad body language feeds other people, I think you're crazy.
I do.
I do. I think it's something that never corrects.
Right.
It never corrects.
It's not going to. He's 30. He's going to be that guy. But
see, I always think that at some point in life you do go, yeah. That's folly of my youth.
Well,
now
dude,
I'll
remember,
be doing that.
It took P.J. Tucker basically ripping him a new one last year to get his ass in line.
I'm shocked that you have to do that.
I love Joel Embiid, but I agree with you. The body language is an issue. All right, real quick. I'm just doing this one quick because I don't want to lose Connor the rest of the show. On our NFL Draft Educational Day, all the players that the multiple mock drafts are linking the Eagles to.
Come on, baby.
2 people. Bucky Brooks of NFL.com and Tom Fornelli of CBS Sports.
Okay, both of those guys are pretty good.
They have who, Connor?
Oh, yeah. Kool-Aid, McKinstry.
And at 22.
Oh, no, I think he could. I think he could from some of the stuff that's projected.
I'm telling you,
there's a chance he could be there.
I'm smelling it.
Don't be sniffing. You're not supposed to sniff Kool-Aid. You're supposed to put it in the container.
Connor Thomas Friday morning. Kool-Aid McKinstry still on the board at 22, and the Eagles drafted lineman. How are you Friday morning?
Oh, dude, I'm immune to pain. The Sixers have broken me. I'll be good.
No, because the Sixers are going to win easily Thursday night. So you're going to be in a great mood, and then that may you down.
Nah, I'll be fine. I want Kool-Aid, but I know what's good for me. Kool-Aid is too sugary. The vegetables, which are the offensive linemen, are what's good.
Okay.
That's what we're going to get forced.
All right, there's 3 more players that are mentioned on all these mock drafts. This is where we start to get to, like, one guy's mentioned 5 times, one guy's mentioned 7 times.
And then you get excited.
And then one guy's mentioned 9 times who they think the Eagles are going to go after. The majority of the NFL draft analysts. So we'll continue that conversation. More Sixers reaction. You can climb in on the phone line or the text line at 610-632-0975. I'll give you some more draft prospects. And, like I said, I want to talk more about the bench between the Sixers and the Knicks, but not necessarily the talent. It's the mentality. It's Kincade and Salciunas, 97.5 The Fanatic.
Now, a 76ers play.
time gone today?
Well, it's been flying.
Honestly,
it's been flying
it really
by.
has.
I still find it very funny because I'm still getting more and more responses, which I love. I love how passionate Philadelphia sports fans are. The quote that I said earlier to start the show, Embiid's the best player, Maxi's the brightest future, but Kyle Lowry's the only guy on the team that I look at and I say, that guy's a winner. And people are complaining about the inbound pass.
What are they complaining about?
Everybody, and here's the
On
funny
that
thing.
one.
So I've done this. I've clicked on the profiles. And what were they tweeting about last night?
Officials suck.
Officials suck. But they're ripping Lowry for the inbound play that they're complaining about the officiating.
Wait a
on.
minute. The Lowry's inbound play
was actually a good play.
No, it was actually like really high-level passing.
He put it in the right spot.
Perfect
that
spot.
Only Maxey can get to if Jalen Brunson didn't get away with a holding call.
You guys need to understand, we are on Shutter Island right now. Every Sixers fan is in an insane asylum, and I don't know that we can hold a lot of these people responsible for how they're feeling because this team is nuts to root for.
Yeah, that's true. It's a good point. It is a horrible team to root for right now, but
do you think it's the
GD? Do I love them?
It's the hardest team to root for in this city.
Yes,
It's
because
the hardest team to root
because
for.
of what's happened.
Because they have expectations that are here and the expectations that they meet. And this is great for radio as I hold my hand up.
Yeah, right. Yeah, but we have a YouTube audience.
It is now where the expectations are and then where they deliver is completely different.
It's a tough year for the Wings. I don't know. It's pretty close.
We're now,
we're getting there.
I really wanted the second round talking point to be done this year, and I'm not out yet. I am not out on this at all.
They can still win this
And
series.
They're going to win Thursday night, and they're going to win comfortably.
I hope so, because you told me it was going to be a comfortable win against the Heat.
They're going to win comfortably.
I was biting my fingernails off. Yeah, was it? All right, so we'll continue this Sixers talk, but we're also doing NFL Draft Education Day because the draft the draft is on Thursday, so we're trying to toe the line of Sixers reaction and also Eagles talk because it's a big NFL draft. The Eagles are drafting 22nd overall. We talked about this yesterday. They are in prime position to draft a defensive player. But will they do it? I don't know. I still think they draft an offensive lineman. I would not be surprised if they draft a guy that can start at right guard and eventually replace Lane Johnson at right tackle. Andrew Pacheco, who will be in on with us on Thursday, he has the Eagles in his latest mock draft taking J.C. Latham, the tackle out of Alabama. By all analysis, can play right guard to start and then eventually move over to right tackle, which is something the Eagles have been pretty good with. Sayamala was supposed to be Kelsey's replacement. Landon Dickerson was supposed to be Kelsey's replacement. You ended up getting a good right guard and a Pro Bowl left guard out of that, and now Cam Jurgens is going to overtake Jason Kelsey at center. So one of the names that I told you about, again, we have 31 NFL. We have 31 mock drafts.
Good job, Brendan Gunn.
Thank you, Brendan Gunn, for doing this. We have 31 mock drafts, and there are, I think, 13 different players that have been mentioned. So one person picked Laiatu Latu, the edge rusher out of UCLA. One person picked Chop Robinson, and one person picked Quinyon Mitchell.
But the Quinyon Mitchell person
they would have to
has
trade
them trading up because
Correct.
nobody. If you do a mock draft properly, 22nd Mitchell is nowhere available.
Not, right now, Jared Verse, the edge rusher out of Florida State. Two people have the Eagles taking Verse. One has them at 22 selecting him. Another has them trading up to 16.
By the way, that's an overdraft. If they do that, that's an overdraft at 16, I believe.
Jeff McClain, who will be joining us tomorrow, put together all the names that the Eagles could potentially go after in the first round.
Okay.
Jared Verse, if Verse falls into the mid to late teens, he would be an obvious trade-up candidate. It's unlikely he gets past the Broncos at 12. Wow. Edge rushers are premium players, and he has elite skills. So Jeff doesn't think he might even get past 12.
I would, if you're telling me you can get him at 18, 19,
that's one thing.
I'm all in. Because then you only have to give up a third day to move from 22 to there. It's a third day pick. You're not giving. If anything involves touching one of those second round picks, I am absolutely out on it.
But here's what Howie Roseman sees. We heard how testy he got when he was asked about Hassan Reddick.
He was testy, man.
He sees an opportunity to get a guy to remedy the Hassan Reddick situation. Say, hey, we always were going to go trade up and get this guy.
Now, the thing is, though, Connor, that makes so much logical sense.
Yeah. Can you believe I said it?
I don't believe I'm not as high on versus as others.
Okay.
And I'm not an expert on him or anything, but I've seen him play more. When you say some of these names, I have to run to YouTube.
Right.
When I saw play, I'm like, okay, we'll see.
I'll give you one more name this segment. So this player, I mentioned, Latu Robinson Mitchell, one person has him. Verse 2, Latham, 2, who is the offensive tackle from Alabama that could play right guard. Kool-Aid McKinstry has 2. 5 analysts, I won't run through the names, but 5 of them have the Eagles taking the tackle out of Georgia, Amarius Mims.
I like him, but
Jeff McClain writes this. Mims has characteristics similar to Tyler Guyton out of Oklahoma. He's as inexperienced, but projects as only a tackle.
Correct.
Which I would not do that because you need a right guard. If you're drafting a tackle, a future replacement to Lane Johnson, he better be able to play right guard right away because I'm not drafting another substitute in the first round. Jordan Davis was a rotational guy. Cam Jurgens was a second-round pick that didn't play his first year. My first-round pick better be a starter.
No questions
Whether it's
asked.
on or on offense, there's only one spot on offense, and that's right guard. So I'm out on Amarius Mims. All right, 9 o'clock hour coming up. We will run through calls and texts and react to the Sixers game. I want to talk about the bench, the thing that's bothering me right now through 2 games. Well, there's a million of them. But there's something that really bothers me about the bench, and it's not talent, it's mentality. We'll talk about it more next. It's Kincade and Salciunas, 97.5 The Fanatic. Tuesday morning. I'm not really all that happy about it, but,
Okay.
We're 6 feet over, I guess.
Dude, the world needs ditch diggers, too.
No, we're not 6 feet under. If we were 6 feet over, we'd be levitating.
Or you'd be 6 feet tall.
No.
Which I think is generally the size.
Yeah, no, but people say 6 feet. I can't say 6 feet over. I would be levitating.
All right, do a leap.
There's nothing to levitate today.
No, there's absolutely nothing to levitate today. By the way, I'm glad we're doing this promotion. I'll say it right now. Head to 975thefanatic.com and enter for a chance to win $2,000 from Mom in the Mother's Day giveaway. Sponsored by Pilates Florists. Make Mom's Mother's Day special with beautiful flowers from Pilates Florists. Now with 3 locations to serve you. Visit PilatesFlorist.com. We have not had good luck on Mother's and Father's Days here with the Sixers. They lost last year on Mother's Day. Game 7.
The Father's Day against the Hawks was disgraceful.
The Sixers don't like moms and dads.
Well, no, it's not just that. It's holidays. Yesterday was Earth Day, and we had that happen. I think yesterday was Earth Day.
They don't like the
Yesterday, I believe, was Earth Day.
Shout out the Earth.
You're right. The Sixers don't like holidays. That's unbelievable.
And they lost on Andrew's favorite holiday.
Which one's that?
That's true.
Game 1.
Oh.
They lost on your favorite holiday.
No, I told you that's not a holiday. That's just another day of the week for me at this point.
Especially because of this team, what they do to you.
Honest. Come
what
on,
they
man.
do to you.
I got to bring down the blood pressure.
I'm telling you.
Happy hour doesn't mean just beers at the PJs in Wynwood. I got to eat a lot of wings.
That's unbelievable.
You can climb in at 610-632-0975 to react to the Sixers game from last night, which is just making me absolutely miserable. I want to bring this up. We didn't really get into it conversation-wise because somebody brought it up via the text, and you can text it, and we'll get some more texts this segment as well. We had a texter bring up the bench and how much of a factor it's been so far this series. And I literally wrote it down as one of the subjects I wanted to get into, and it was at this specific time.
All right.
My biggest beef is not necessarily the fact that the bench outscored the Sixers in game 1 by what? It was like a 30-point difference. My biggest beef isn't the fact that they got outscored again yesterday. It's just the fact that Miles McBride can go out there and miss a couple shots. He'll keep shooting. Bojan Bogdanovic will miss a couple shots. He will keep shooting. The Sixers have 3 guys coming off the bench right now in Batum and Hield and Reed. Reed is not out there for offense. Batum is not necessarily out there for offense, even though he did save the game for you last week against Miami. Your scoring threat is Buddy Hield. And he took 3 field goals yesterday, 3 field goal attempts. And one of them was just a layup because there was a loose ball and he picked it up and he was right in the paint and nobody was around him.
And we were told that Buddy Hield was going to be the biggest impact player at the trade deadline, and the Sixers had acquired him.
Well, I didn't have to be told. I also believed that.
No, I didn't believe that necessarily, but I advocated and wanted the deal. There's a difference. When Darryl said it was the biggest impact player available, we got him. I didn't believe that. I did not believe that. But I did want the deal, so it's not like I wouldn't have said go for it.
Yeah, and we had a caller on hold, and they dropped off, and I'm sorry that we didn't get to you. He was upset that they traded Marcus Morris for, quote, a bum in Buddy Hield. Marcus Morris, I love the fact that he's from Philly. I love his toughness.
He's not making a difference in this series.
He's not, like, I don't know who he'd be playing over right now. Right, because you have Kelly Oubre, Tobias Harris. I know everybody would say play him over Tobias Harris. I would probably say the same thing. That's not going to happen.
But I guarantee you it wouldn't have happened.
It wouldn't have happened. Buddy Hield makes perfect sense with Joel Embiid. What doesn't make sense to me is a guy that is a career 40% three-point shooter that, I don't know, I'm just going to guess. I didn't look, all right? I'm looking at you in the eye. I just pulled up his page. He probably averages in his career 6 to 7 three-point attempts a game. That's just my guess.
I would guess.
Now I'm gonna try to pull up his
I'm gonna say he
career
averages
stats.
6.5.
In his career, Buddy Hield, or let's say this year, because of course NBA.com doesn't have his career. This year was 6.5. Last year 5.5.
Okay.
3 years ago was 11.
Wow.
4 years ago was 9. 5 years ago was 8. All right. So probably averages around 7.
Absolutely.
Right.
Yeah. Sure.
He is afraid to shoot the basketball in this playoff series so far, whereas Miles McBride is not afraid. Bojan Bogdanovic is not afraid.
They're not afraid.
And I know this is Buddy Hield's first playoffs. Bogdanovic hasn't been in the playoffs in like 75 years because he's been on bad basketball teams. So don't give me the whole, well, it's his first 2 games of his career in the playoffs. Athletes beg for these opportunities. They want these opportunities in the playoffs, and he's running away from it. If I rip Tobias Harris for it, I need to rip Buddy Hield for it.
Well, Buddy Hield deserves to be ripped.
It's just
he's been a complete non-factor.
And that's my biggest beef with the bench thing. It's not the fact that the Knicks outscored you by so much in game 1. Miles McBride went off, right? He was unconscious. Nobody thought that Miles McBride was going to score 20 points in a game in one of these games in this series. It's the fact that Buddy Hield is afraid to shoot. Against the Heat, Joel Embiid had to tell him to shoot the basketball. A guy that averages 6.5 threes a game this year can't even put up 3 shots. That's my biggest beef right now with the bench.
And you have a right to have a beef with that.
Because they are supposed to be one of the deeper benches that they've had.
They are. Again, though, I think that I don't think Orlando's a happy town right now to be in the playoffs.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think in Orlando they're blaming lack of bench scoring for why they're losing. I don't think today if we're hearing Indiana Pacers getting ready for game 2, well, the bench needs to. I think it's in the playoffs, especially first rounds.
But John,
that's where you're expecting.
I will say this: both the Magic, the Pacers, you want to throw in the Cavs.
Different expectations.
Not only that, their best player is not clearly hampered by something right now. Buddy Hield, Tobias Harris, crap too. He barely did anything last night. They need to at least create the threat of scoring, which would then make Joel Embiid's life easier.
I think you're fair with that.
He scored 34 points last night without a threat other than Tyrese Maxey.
You're fair, but that cannot – I can't go – you talk about like you can't deal with another – I can't deal with another of – well, you know, the reason they lost is Embiid was dinged up. I can't deal with another year of going, well, we got to talk about that again and deal with it. And then wish and hope and feel that maybe next year will be different.
Well,
this is why this has to be different.
It might be the reasoning, but I know that it sucks.
I can't do it again. And I believe I was going to say this, not the vast majority, but the majority of the fan base will feel the same way. Can't do it again because it's never going to change.
Well,
if that's the reason.
And I said that. If they lose this series, or even if they lose in round 2 and we're disappointed because it's the Pacers or the Bucks, I know the conversation that's coming.
I agree, and I think this series will have a change in conversation.
And I think
I
think my island that has been heavily populated will continue to diminish over the years.
Well, not the Rojas Island because you're so low on that.
Yeah, not the
Is
Rojas
that because
Island.
of rising water levels?
Yeah, everybody's leaving.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, so I'm not looking forward to that conversation.
No, we don't want it.
But I know it's coming.
Well, here's the one thing we got right, because you're talking about the role players. We've only seen half the puzzle because apparently, if you believe the trends, role players are totally different home versus away.
And that is the truth.
And the Garden, this is not the Knicks have sucked for 30 straight years, Garden.
Yeah, this isn't the Porzingis Knicks.
No, this is like a legit environment up there. So we'll see if that carries over when you're at the Wells Fargo Center.
We'll see, man. We'll see game 3. All right. Do we really want to do this? We're going to do it. We're going to go behind enemy lines and go to Art in Philly. Hello, Art.
How you doing? Yeah, I just was saying that to I guess Colin, that role players tend to play better at home. And the reality of the situation is that the Sixers are coming home. You're going to get big games I think Cam see Buddy Hield make some shots.
If he takes shots.
I mean,
need to shoot the basketball. And you know what? And I was okay with it because that was one of their first games together. But these 2 games, it's inexcusable that he's 1 of 5 in this series.
I mean, I understand what you're saying, and like I said, I'm a Knicks fan, but at the same time, I like the Sixers and I like what they're doing. I do
too.
Buddy Hield is not really comfortable in the role that he's been playing. He's used to being more on the court. He's not getting enough time to really get into a rhythm.
You can't. Whoa.
Miles
No.
McBride.
Art. Here's where you're losing me. is he doesn't have time to get into a rhythm. When he's given opportunities, he's passing them up and not taking them, so he's not getting himself into a rhythm.
All right, he is taking it.
It's a confident thing. He's not confident to take those shots in those moments.
All right, but what happened? You know basketball, man. I appreciate the call. Sometimes you just need to see one go in.
Yes.
He's not even attempting one. He has taken 5 field goal attempts in this series, in 2 games, in 26 minutes.
See, that's ridiculous.
He has taken 5 field goal attempts. Art's correct about this team goes through Embiid and Maxey, but it's not like Buddy Hield isn't getting the ball with an open look. He's getting the ball. There's nobody in front of him, and then he's looking to pass the ball, or he hesitates. And look, all these NBA players are tremendous athletes. They can recover pretty quickly, right? The second you hesitate, you're going to have a guy in your face. He has 5 field goal attempts.
You ready for this one, Johnny?
Yeah, give it.
Tobias Harris or Buddy Hield? Who would you give? Like, would you give Buddy Hield the Tobias Harris level minutes?
I would absolutely not.
I would not.
Okay. Because I was checking.
No, I get you though.
I'm checking on.
No, I absolutely buy your premise, Connor. But I would not. Buddy Hield has shown me enough. He's shown me enough that he doesn't want the moment. He doesn't want it.
Has Tobias shown you he wants the moment?
Well,
no, but Tobias does more for
He can contribute in other ways.
I agree.
Buddy Hield's not.
This is somebody who does not like Tobias Harris. Tobias Harris does more for. I keep on saying he's should be in the starting lineup.
By the way, I'm very proud of you today on something.
Thank you. What's
You're
that?
doing something. It's one of my pet peeves.
Okay.
And you're doing something great today.
Oh wow. Jeez.
You're not couching critique of Tobias Harris with, but he's a great guy and he's a really nice person. I hate that in sports radio.
Because I said yesterday I was done with it.
Because you're just. I'm so tired of that and think you're not attacking him. When you critique Tobias, you have not been, you critique him on his performance.
The only thing I'll
there's
critique
no
him.
reason you have to couch critique with.
The only thing I'll
nice
critique him
guy.
outside of basketball, insomnia cookie's greater than crumble. Can we all agree with this?
Wow.
The crumble cookie is not
I got
a
to
cookie.
sample both.
The crumble cookie is like a gigantic. The crumble cookie is like gigantic.
Insomnia cookies all the way, baby, and it's not even a debate for me.
I mean, it was, and I mean, you can tell. Toby and I go to the same dog place to get our dog treats.
Nikki Foles looked good today.
The Three Dog Bakery in Westchester, and they love Tobias there. And I'm like, that's awesome. This is about basketball.
Yes,
and your critique is fair.
And he's been poor at basketball.
Sometimes a little over the top, I feel, but you never are unfair.
I'm sorry.
I don't think they're unfair.
I don't think it's over the top to complain about my max contract player putting together a stat line in the second half of a game where he played 20 minutes and 42 seconds exactly. 0 of 3 from the field, 0 of 1 from 3, 0 free throw attempts. That means he didn't create any contact, 3 rebounds, 1 assist, and 2 personal fouls and a turnover.
Thank God he got the 3 rebounds in the second half because your MVP gave you 2 in the final 3 quarters.
As I said earlier, when you know one of your teammates, like in
there's always just look.
Dude, he can't jump. He can't jump.
So he got 8, but he got 8 rebounds in the first quarter.
Because maybe they were going his way.
Okay, well then you
almost
can't.
Got like he got tired.
Or maybe he had a Toradol shot and it wore off in the second half.
But there's always it wouldn't wear off by then. It would wear off in the third quarter, whatever. There's always it disappeared. The rebounding part disappeared later. And again, there's always just going to be an answer for those we want to defend, and it's everybody. And I do it too. For those you want to defend, there's always going to be an answer.
Well, we're comparing an MVP winner to a guy who's stealing from the franchise.
In the last 2 minutes of playoff games, I will say it again, and I'll insist on it again. In first-round series, when you have MVPs, all-star players on your roster, you expect them to be – that's where if the game's in jeopardy, you expect them to be your biggest players at your biggest times. It has not happened in Game 1 or Game 2.
Well,
and last night – again, watching Tyrese and he had a great. The dagger 3 should have been a dagger 3. It was awesome. Him laying on the floor and watching that entire sequence go down is unacceptable, and it's okay to say it.
It's unfair to harp on it. And Embiid and Maxey.
It's not unfair.
Embiid and Maxey were the best 2 players on the court in the fourth quarter.
They were the best 2 players on the court in the entire game.
But when the game was on the line, you cannot be laying there just watching. There was no reason for him to be watching.
He was basically dead.
Like, you got to cut him some slack on that, Johnny.
After the game, they asked him what he did. Connor already talked about the IV thing. Like, the guy was cooked.
So he wasn't cooked. He hit the dagger 3 30 seconds earlier.
Dude, there are times adrenaline with the your hand, and then the second you hit the floor, you're down.
And by the way,
dude.
he should have been fouled. The call should have been made. He was obviously fouled on the inbound play. He was in perfect position, and more importantly, Lowry delivered the ball in the perfect position. There should have been a foul call there. But you can't stop it. I'm never going to buy your premise that, well, at that moment, he was just so exhausted, he couldn't get up, and he was just going to watch.
Will you buy this? You remember the Music City Miracle?
Yes. Yes.
Do you blame the Bills? Because there were a lot of players on that field that saw Frank Wycheck throw the ball forwards and did not make a play because they thought something was going weird. And sometimes you get caught in those moments watching. It was not a natural situation. It wasn't Tyrese Maxey lost the ball and just gave up.
I think he was pissed that he didn't get a call on the floor.
I think he was confused. He didn't.
Well, I don't.
Yeah, he literally had his jersey
the play's
tugged.
going on. The play goes on for a significant period of time after that happens. Significantly.
And he stood up, but he never went to attack DiVincenzo at the top of the key. But maybe
that can't happen.
It can't. You're right, but that's not the reason why they lost the game.
It's one reason why they lost.
But I'm not going to crush them for it today.
No, but it's one reason why they lost, and you can't have it. In the last 2 minutes of games, stars got to be stars.
Dude, that's like Bryce Harper going 3 for 4 with a home run in every at-bat, but he strikes out to end the game.
Series. This is a first-round series.
What does that change about the fact he was sick?
This is when MVPs, all-stars, literally mop the floor.
John, in this first-round series, hold on a second, dude. In this first-round series, he scores 33 in Game 1, 35 in Game 2. He has nine boards, 10 assists last night. Like, he had an incredible game. Joel Embiid, you keep on talking about the Stars mop the floor the first. By the way, they're the 7th seed in the damn tournament.
Which we know they're not.
Right, they're not supposed to be, but they are. They're playing.
No, we can't do that.
But they are playing a team. Like, it's not like they're playing the Magic. It's not like they're playing the Bulls. They're playing the New York Knicks. They started the first 2 games on the road,
and they are better than the Knicks 5-on-5.
Okay,
they're better than the Knicks 7-on-7.
Maxey and Embiid have actually been the 2 best players in the series.
And when the games are on the line, it's when stars are stars and they don't watch. And guess what? Everything. I've thrown every bouquet Maxey's way that you want for his performance. Yeah. He's got every bouquet. And you can still say all things can be true. You can say the point score has been incredible. I think he scored better than I expected him to score on the Thibodeau defense. I really do. I thought his offensive performance, if you had said to me, set a number of what he would have done, I would have said 55 in his first 2 games. So he has exceeded that. Fantastic. Both things can be true. You can't lay on the floor and watch the biggest sequence go down.
So you are looking at this from a Sixers-specific point of view.
That is correct.
I understand why, because we react to the Sixers.
Because we're doing it here.
In the fourth quarter, is Bojan Bogdanovic a star?
No.
He was the leading scorer for the Knicks.
No, but he is a guy who is never afraid of the moment, never has been.
Well, I don't think Maxey was afraid of the moment laying on the floor.
I'm not comparing him to Maxey. You asked if he was a star. I said he's a guy who is – there are many guys. What's that? Gosh.
We'll think about during the break.
Big Shot Bob.
Big Shot
Bob is not a star.
No, he's not.
But he was a star when it came to closing out games, big moments, and plays.
All right, well, then maybe the Sixers should have had some help then. Which they had no help in the entire second half. It was just Embiid and Maxey. All right, we'll continue the conversation. Ooh, man. Game 3's on Thursday. Unbelievable. It's also the first round of the draft.
That's
I'll
good.
give you the other 2 names that we haven't gotten to yet in NFL Draft Education Day for the Eagles. It's Kincade and Salciunas, 97.5 The Fanatic.
Fanatic Sports Update.
welcome in Kincade and Salciunas. Just to kind of remind you guys what we have coming up this week. I know today's been a freaking busy day, as and I were just talking about during the break. Today's flown by. I can't believe it's 9:30 already. So today, obviously, we react to Sixers' loss to the Knicks, but we've also mixed in the Eagles because the draft is on Thursday. And I know we have some special draft coverage tomorrow night here on the station because Game 3, Sixers-Knicks, is, 7:30 Thursday. So we aren't going to have a special draft show during the Sixers game, obviously. So make sure you're listening tomorrow night. I know Tyrone has his mock draft special.
I really am interested in that. I'm very fascinated by it.
Bill Colarulo and Andrew DeCecco are going to be on during the show tomorrow night. Tomorrow for us, Jeff McClain's going to join us at 7:30. He typically joins us on Tuesdays, but we're going to ignore the fact that I forgot to text him last night. We're just going to say I had the wherewithal to push him to tomorrow. How about that? Is that fair?
That's fair to say.
So I pushed Jeff McClain to tomorrow.
Oh, yeah, good call.
Adam Schefter will join us at 8 o'clock, and I'm going to tell you something right now about tomorrow. Tomorrow, in the 8 o'clock hour, we are going to give away a pair of tickets to the Sixers Game 3 Thursday night against the Knicks. I know we are all beat up today. It's still a big game. It's a playoff game, and it's 2 free tickets from 97.5 The Fanatic, and you can go see the Sixers in a game in which John believes they will win comfortably.
Yes.
So tomorrow, not only will you hear great NFL draft talk with Jeff McClain at 7:30, followed by Adam Schefter at 8, we will also give away a pair of tickets to the Sixers-Knicks game, Game 3 at the Wells Fargo Center. And then Thursday is preview day to both Game 3 and the NFL Draft. We'll have Andrew DeCecco in for an hour. And then Friday will be, hopefully, a fun Fanatic Friday. A fun Fanatic Friday would mean a Sixers victory and an Eagles draft pick that we celebrate.
I think that's a plan because Thursday night's going to be the blowout win.
I sure hope so.
So Friday morning, we're celebrating. And we're looking ahead to how he's going to do on Friday night. It's going to be a wild end of this week.
Yep, and it's only Tuesday, so it's going to fly by the rest of the week. So we appreciate you joining us today, and we appreciate you joining us the rest of the week as well. All right, do we have any texts coming in, Connor, about the Sixers? You can call in and text in at 610-632-0975.
Yeah, we've only got about 1 billion today, so let me scroll through a couple. This one coming in from Uncle Lowell. This team has been handcuffed by Tobias's contract for years. It's as simple as that. I know fans are sick of waiting until next year, but next year is finally the end of that contract. So we got someone kicking the can a little bit.
I have already said there are 2 days that I will celebrate anniversaries of. I talked about this with Ray Dunn when I was still doing middays. I will pop a champagne on the 1-year anniversary of the day Furkan Korkmaz was traded.
Pop the cork.
So I never have to see those hideous yellow sneakers on the bench, or when he's trying to play point guard, or when he's lighting rims on fire for his highlight reel. I will celebrate the 1-year anniversary.
Okay.
I will celebrate the day Tobias Harris is no longer a Sixer. So the day after the Sixers hopefully win the NBA championship, or if they unfortunately lose in a playoff series, I will at least still toast a glass of champagne. Tobias Harris is no longer on the Sixers. Because I've been trying to trade him. I didn't want his you can dig up the old tweets. I did not want the Sixers to re-sign him 5 years ago. I sure as hell wanted him traded 2 years ago. Remember every year you hear, well, when there's only 2 years left on his deal, it'll be easier to trade him. Oh, when there's only 1 year left on his deal, it'll be easier to trade him. Oh, when he's going into his final year, it'll be easier to trade him.
So you're blaming Daryl Morey?
Yes.
I agree with you. Then Daryl Morey is your gripe.
Well, you could have multiple gripes.
No, I mean, the gripe is, why did Daryl Morey not move this guy?
Because maybe nobody wanted him.
And Daryl Morey also oversold us on Buddy Hield.
Well, no, I didn't need Daryl Morey to tell me about Buddy Hield. I was happy that it was Buddy Hield was here. I
wanted the deal too.
Okay.
But, I mean, it was oversold as the biggest impact move.
I'm not going to blame Daryl Morey for overselling anything. I, myself, Andrew Salciunas, was excited for the addition of Buddy Hield because it made sense what he could do with Joel Embiid. I don't think it's Daryl Morey's fault that Buddy Hield has wet his pants in the playoffs. He's afraid to shoot the basketball. That's not Daryl Morey's fault.
Okay.
Now, Daryl Morey...
Okay, he told me he was the biggest impact player in free agency.
Well, he looks
and
like
that they got him. At the trade deadline, and they got him. I don't believe that was. I believe it was being said here.
We agreed with it, though, so we can't fault him.
No, I didn't agree with that. I wanted Buddy Hield here, but I did not believe when he came out with we got the biggest impact move at the trade deadline.
Well, they did. The problem is OG Anunoby was traded earlier in the year.
Right.
Pascal Siakam was traded earlier in the year. But at the trade deadline, he was at the time the most impactful trade that they made. Out of all the trades, he was the biggest name that was moved.
Did the Knicks go and get guys too?
They got Bogdanovich.
Yes.
Hield is a bigger impact move than 80-year-old Bogdanovich.
I agree, but I wanted Bogdanovich desperately.
I know you did. And I did too.
I was very upset that they didn't get him. Very
well,
upset.
that's the Euro in you.
By the way, look, I was going to text you yesterday, but I didn't.
Okay.
I might have to call in my people.
What are you talking about?
One of the referees was Lithuanian last night.
Oh, no.
I might have to call in a favor. All right.
I'm game 3.
I'm connected with the Philadelphia Lithuanian committee here.
Well, wait a minute. There's nothing more connected than O'Hara, for God's sakes. Usually for a bad reason.
So you guys should have no excuse.
Usually
for right. We should call it a favor. Yeah, one of my people was one of the referees last night, and it was pretty bad.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not proud of it.
No, a lot of suspicious stuff, by the way.
All right.
There's no sport that's more officiating suspicious stuff.
2 more players in NFL Draft Education Day because we have 2 players left. So out of the 31 mock drafts that we have in front of us, thanks to our man Brendan Gunn.
Good job, Brendan.
7 of the 31 mock drafts have the Eagles selecting that sneaky athletic.
Oh, yeah. Okay, well, we know what that is.
Student of the game.
Yeah, sneaky athletic.
Cooper DeJean, Mr. Sneaky Athletic.
Which, by the way, is really unbelievable in 2024.
Cooper DeJean,
We're still doing
Look,
that.
He's sneaky athletic.
And people would just be
I will say this. He looks like a player, and I love Iowa safety.
He's a safety, though.
I love Iowa safeties. I don't know if you're going to transition him to corner. He's probably going to be a safety.
Deceptive speed.
He is. That's incredible.
It's amazing.
Every code word you could throw in there.
But 7 people have Cooper DeJean. In case people are trying to figure out what we're talking about, he's the white safety out of Iowa, but he's considered.
Well, they knew all the code words. They figured it out.
He's considered a secondary player. He could also be a corner.
I don't believe that.
I would rather draft a true corner. If I'm Bradbury, I would rather draft a true corner. If the Eagles draft Cooper DeJean and tell me we're drafting a safety, I'm cool with it. Don't tell me we're drafting Cooper DeJean because he could play multiple positions. I want a true corner.
I want somebody that plays the position and is an expert at it.
And coming in with 9 selections, 9 different NFL draft analysts, including guys like Daniel Jeremiah, who I really like and I really respect.
Daniel's very good.
Mel Kiper in mock draft 4080. Field Yates. They have 9 NFL draft analysts selecting Nate Wiggins to the Eagles, and you're suspect about it.
Yeah, I don't see it.
Why?
I just am not. How about this? Are they at 20? Are they at 22?
22 for the
I mean, is this because it's somebody's? If they're at 22, I would just tell you that I'm a fan of the Clemson program. I think Clemson. Sometimes because of the competition level, guys are inflated because the ACC sucks.
Correct.
And I would prefer to avoid ACC at that level.
And you could make the case about, remember, Sidney Jones, Pac-12. Pac-12 corners are horrible.
Wiggins, I don't know. Wiggins is, $190 maybe? Like $190? I don't know. I don't know if I would be. There were not a lot of quarterbacks that I think you would go, okay, these are the guys that are going to just tear it up.
Right.
They're going to tear it up playing in the ACC. I'm not.
So here's what Jeff McClain said about him, and this might be telling. He's long, lean, and fast. I could see the Eagles taking him at number 22, but only if they can't move out of the spot.
I remember him playing. I watched him play in high school.
Oh, did you?
I thought he was a wide receiver against he played it. I think it was Westlake, but it was but he played wide receiver, and he was known as a big wide receiver, and I think he got converted to corner late in his career. He was one of the star young players in Atlanta. At the same, he's the same age as my daughter.
Okay.
He was one of the names that everybody talked about and everything. I can see it, but I don't see ACC. I'm very anti-ACC at 22.
This next sentence from Jeff,
may
have every Eagles fan that has a draft board take them off. Some analysts raise concerns about run support and tackling.
Well, there it is.
Which we saw with the Eagles last year. Tackling, even though Nick Sirianni kept on telling us about the missed tackle rate, wasn't that bad. Yeah, maybe.
By the way, they meant 185. So just looking here, they meant 185. I was giving him a pass at 190. I think he's really skinny.
Yeah,
like really, really skinny. Really, I wonder if. Look, how much we always say we would like a little more physical corner. I think every one of us.
Yeah,
and I would think that would be something that we would be hearing from. Your new defensive coordinator would want somebody a little more physical.
Let's quickly get one more Sixers call in here. Let's go to Dan in Harleysville. Dan, you're on the Fanatic.
Hey, guys. How you doing?
What's
Good,
up,
buddy?
Dan?
I'm going to play a little game. I'm going to give you some names. The first one is Tobias Harris. The next one is Jamal Murray. Next one's Donovan Mitchell. I could probably keep going, but these are all players who are the second highest paid players on this team. I know we've gone over this a million times, but I don't think it'd be overemphasized how much Tobias Harris actually kills this team.
Yeah.
Like,
and now you
kills them. It's so simple, and everybody keeps saying it, but that's the answer. I mean, realistically, it's the answer. It's the reason they're in this position because it goes down the entire bench when he doesn't perform. You got guys taking minutes and expected to do more than they're really signed to do because your second highest player can't do what he's supposed to be doing.
And Dan, I can play another game off of that, and thanks for the call, man. Forget contract. Everybody tells me to forget contract, right? So I'll do it for a second. Would you make the case that Tobias Harris is probably your third option?
Yeah, he's third or fourth. Yeah, absolutely.
So the Nuggets, Jokic last night, 27, 20 boards and 10 assists, which is crazy. Jamal Murray, the second option, 20 points. Michael Porter Jr., their third option, 22 points, 9 rebounds.
Yes.
Tobias Harris isn't doing that in a playoff game.
No, he's not doing that.
So,
well, if he does, it's the outlandish game that nobody saw coming.
Right. And that probably not play well, and maybe it's Game 7 when nobody shows up like last year. All right, we got the Kincade Salciunas Key 3 coming your way next. Also the crosser with our own Bob Cooney right here, 97.5 The Fanatic.
The NFL Draft is Thursday.
Salciunas. Another highly spirited day on the program.
Very spirited.
And, hopefully it's highly spirited on Friday.
You mean after the blowout win?
In a positive way. Yeah,
after the blowout win.
That would be nice. I am going to take your word for it, John. It is time now for the Kincade Salciunas Key 3.
Now, the Kincade Salciunas Key 3. Today's best.
Good morning, I guess. Can I please? Easy time watching the Sixers in the playoffs. I'm not even asking to win this freaking championship, John. I just want to go into a playoff where my big man's healthy, where you have the right pieces around them, where officials work out for the Sixers' favor,
where your team plays smart,
where your team plays hard. Can I please? You know what? Can the Sixers do what the Knicks do? With the Sixers' talent, the Sixers are the more talented team. Can the more talented team just play with the effort that the Knicks play with?
Joel Embiid and Tyrese Maxey, on paper, you look at the numbers and you say, look at that scoring.
Right.
You get 69 points out of the two of them, whatever it was. That was incredible.
69 points, also 16 assists between the two of them, and 19 rebounds between the two of them.
Yeah, but then you look inside the numbers.
Right.
Joel Embiid had 2 rebounds after the first quarter.
Yeah.
The biggest guy on the court has 2 rebounds after the first quarter. Give me a break. That just can't happen. That can't happen. Can I give you something that'll make you smile today?
What's that?
Just a little thing. If someone's in the dumps driving to work today.
Well, or sitting at their seat right now, that's me.
Across from me, yes. Only 7.3% of teams that have trailed 0-2 come back to win the series.
Oh, that makes me feel so much better.
Okay,
Thanks, John.
That is 33 times in 449 chances. But 6 of the 33 have come in the last 3 playoffs.
Oh, okay. J.C. Latham out of Alabama as a potential first-round pick. He's a bulldozer of a human with upper and lower body power to forcibly evacuate run lanes and instantly upgrade a team's ground attack. Latham's size, strength, and talent give him a chance to become a heralded right tackle or Pro Bowl caliber guard. And that, to me, this makes perfect sense. This is what I think the Eagles will do. It's not what I want the Eagles to do. It's what I think the Eagles will do, and I won't have a problem with it because they've been doing it for 24 years and it's worked.
I would not have a problem with it. It would sort of bum me out a little bit.
Because it's not sexy.
It's not sexy, and I really do believe that defense is so much more of a glaring need. Everyone is going to want to blame the officials. Well, not everyone.
No.
The officials were not good in the last sequence. It didn't look good. But Tyrese Maxey chose to be a complete spectator. He laid on the court while shot was being taken. He laid on the court and just watched as the Sixers tried to defend the Knicks 5-on-4, the Knicks with 5, Sixers with 4. Sixers with 4 guys huddled to where each one of them at one point could touch each other.
And the
entire court wide up, and Tyrese Maxey laying on the floor watching like, why didn't I get a call? I can't believe this. And he literally watches. That is not what a great player does in a great moment of a great closeout game. Tyrese has got to learn. He's got to learn. You don't sit there and watch the play unfold.
No.
Thankfully, at some point, Nico Batum makes the run.
He at least tried.
At least tried. But it was too late. And if Tyrese Maxey had gotten up off the ground and actually decided, you know what? The play's still going on. He moved less on the floor of Madison Square Garden than I did on my couch watching the sequence. It's unacceptable. It's unintelligent basketball.
And it's just unfortunate because there's so many different things that you can point to. You know, John, fans are going to point to officiating. It's going to happen. And look, that missed call is a part of the reason why they lost the game. I'm not going to complain about officiating in the first quarter, second quarter, third quarter, right? That play at the end where Jalen Brunson pulls the jersey, it was more egregious than the James Bradbury call in the Super Bowl.
Oh, I think 3
more
times.
Egregious.
3 times is egregious.
And there is a referee, the baseline referee is right there watching the play and does not see it, or does see it but lets the play continue, which then leads to the scramble, which then leads to the was there a timeout, was there not a timeout, which then leads to the Tyrese Maxey, did he give max effort at the end, which leads to the game-winning shot by Dante DiVincenzo. It all started with that lack of a call on the inbound play. All right, that was the Kincade Salciunas Key 3. And now it's time for our crossover with one Bob Cooney. Bobby, good morning.
Good morning, boys. How are we?
Hello, Robert.
Horrible. I'm not good, Bob.
No?
No. Emotional today.
Good content. Like, you know, there's
the content.
Yeah. Yeah.
But,
So that's a tough one.
I'm bummed out. And the problem that what bothers me the most, Bob, is that the plan has worked again. Jalen Brunson is what, 16 of 51
Yeah.
in this series? And
Yeah.
you're down 2-0.
Yeah, it's funny. I was talking to Amy Fadul, who's going to join me all day today on my way in here. Coulda won game 1. 2. Is that a positive coming out of there?
Yes.
Kind of, yeah. But you're still down 0-2, and you're getting nothing from your bench.
What did you see? The question I wanted to ask you is, what did you see about the rebounding plan? Because they talked about it, they hinted at it. What did you see about the rebounding plan that was so different?
It was hold a guy until the ball is secure. Hold off anybody and everybody until the ball is secure. The hustle plays that you see, DiVincenzo got one late in the game, and then the Hartenstein one, Stein one, end of the game. That's egregious. You had Batum, Embiid, and Tobias Harris standing and looking.
He's doing this.
All game long, they got forearms on people, held off until the ball was secure. And on the most important play, you decide to become a spectator and get out-hustled by Hartenstein. So, yeah, that's a tough one, Andy.
It was
not good.
It was not good. Now, can you try to explain to me what's going through Buddy Hield's mind? So I said this earlier. I don't care that the Knicks bench is outscoring the Sixers bench. What I care about is Miles McBride is not afraid of a moment.
No.
Buddy Hield has attempted 5 field goals in 2 games.
He had one yesterday where it was, I thought he was going to shoot a 3, and he went up in the air, and I've said this all along, you can tell with him the way he goes up if it's going to be a good shot or not. 8 times out of 10 it'll go in, whatever. And his feet weren't really set, so I was like, that's not good. But you want to see him shoot it. And he goes up in the air and passes it off.
Yeah.
And a defender didn't really close out all that much. The moment seems to be a little bit big for him right now.
And that's a shame because you brought him in to help with the spacing of this team, to help Joel Embiid because you knew he was going to be limbering when he came back, and he's provided no help.
I'll go back to what I asked someone in executive after game 1. Are the Knicks a better, capital T-E-A-M, and the Sixers have better individual players? They didn't agree with me on that. They're like, nah, if you have an Embiid on your team, you're probably the better team. I think the Knicks play a better team game.
Gut instinct, without giving away what we're going to be talking about today, do you positive about Thursday?
I heard what you were saying, John. I haven't really gone there yet. Okay. In all honesty, I haven't. You got to see how Embiid reacts to these, over the next couple of days and all of those things. But probably more positive than negative.
All right, we'll be listening at 10 o'clock, Bobby.
Cheer up, Andy. It's okay.
Hey, support life-saving cancer research. Join us and our generous partner, David Auto Group, and make a donation to the American Association for Cancer Research. Thanks, David Kelleher. Do it at 975thefanatic.com/AACR because cancer research saves lives.
I'll cheer up tomorrow. You know why? We don't have a Sixers game to react to. We'll talk to you at 6 o'clock. It's Kincade Salciunas 97.5.